Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 106 of the Bonehead Podcast, where we talk all things Blood Bowl. Welcome back, I'm Ben, and we are not in our normal location today. It was a brilliant suggestion by Trips, who is right here. We've just changed the camera over to see Trips. We are going to be filming this episode that's coming out on Christmas Eve at Entoyment because it gave us a good opportunity to muck about in the RPG room.
Yeah, the fact you're 5 minutes away is completely unrelated.
Absolutely, not at all an additional bonus.
But as ever, we're joined by Blood Type Ben. How you doing, BT?
Yeah, doing really good, thanks.
Excellent. And Trips, as always. How you doing?
All good. Enjoyed the long 5-minute journey here this morning. Thank you, gents, and looking forward to a good chat about Blood Bowl.
Well, given that you popped over to mine on Tuesday this week to film a game of sevens, it kind of seemed fair, and well, Ben just got a bit unlucky. Unlucky. I was like, hey Ben, as Trips drove to mine this week, you have to drive to Poole now.
That's fine. Worth it.
No, okie dokie. So it is podcast time, and BT, what are we talking about on this episode?
We're going to be talking about the World Cup rule set and our thoughts and opinions. Which could get spicy.
Yeah.
Not sure. I've never had an opinion about anything, so I don't have much to say. And we're also going to be talking about what's coming in Blood Bowl in 2023. Like, what do we want to see? What do we think will be seen? Little just roundtable discussion about that.
Yeah, and a little preface. Next episode is going to be the Boney Awards and the 2022 review, where Ben tries to claim that the undead Punga team wins for another year, I think. But
Year in a row.
yeah, exactly. But we're going to put a big Google sheet out because we want actually loads of people to vote for this one, because historically we've kind of just done it ourselves, and actually that seems like a really good opportunity to kind of drag everybody's opinions into it. So I think that'll be really cool. Anyway, onwards to Blood Bowl news. Okay, so first bit of Blood Bowl news is Nobbler Blackwort. So we talked about the Almanac and the new stars last episode, didn't we?
Yes.
I finished the star player spotlights for these now, and Scrapper's really good and Ripper's amazing, and then I got to the Nurgle 2 with a Grass Trouble Drool who's now been edge busted, and then Bile Rot, and I was just like,
Yeah.
And the rest.
Kind of.
Yeah.
It was
and
kind of
to fill the book.
Yeah, there's not really any good models for these guys, because there's nothing really to them, although Grebo did a good with a draft. Anyway, we saw the Scrapper model and the Blackwort model in the back of the Almanac, which if I was prepared I probably could have brought with me to Entoyment, but Nobbler's model has now been released, not released but previewed.
Preview the model, so we'll see it in about 6 to 9 to 18 months time.
Well, you never know with Forge World. They're quite good.
It could randomly pop up on Friday.
I actually think this guy's coming out on Sunday.
Okay.
Because I think they'll just kind of squeak it in before Christmas and just be like, hey, it's Forge World. Oh no, because that'll be Forge World Friday. That'll be the 23rd.
Yeah, I think it'll be like, if it's going to come out, it'll be early Jan. It'll come out.
No, I think you're probably
if we don't see it in Jan, it'll be May.
Oh, well, do you think it's going to be with Scrapper as well?
I imagine they come out together.
Yeah.
I thought they'd package them together for some reason, but...
Well, they did for Bomber and Fungus.
Yeah.
Well, the new ones.
Yeah.
Oh, well, they might do them.
And they were good value as a dual set.
Good value. It feels good value.
Yeah.
I'm sure
compared to a single star.
Is this economic gaslighting?
Yeah, I think so.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine this? If they're like, all right, 2 models for £21 plus postage, but now you're like, that's really good.
Yeah.
You get them and they're like,
my expectations are so low that actually I'll take just being disappointed.
It was funny. Like I showed Tiff the Fembeast, I was talking about us producing it, and she was like, oh, how much is it selling for? And I was like, yeah, it's this. And she was like, is that good? Is that bad? And I was like, I just looked at like the other 3D printed stuff for big guys and took the price on that one. And I was like, and I got Glottal Stop from Forge World, and I was like, this guy is £32.
Yeah.
She was like, you paid £32 for that? I was like, I have to for the podcast.
Yeah.
She was like, how much is yours? I was like, 9.
Is that still available?
Yeah, oh, yeah. Still available, very much so.
And still available and being printed 8 at a time.
Yeah, it's good fun. It's good fun. And the triple dip method, I've got like a little production method in my incredibly flammable shed. Thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, this is a terrible idea. But luckily, it's at the bottom of the garden, so that's really good. Anyway, the Nobbler model, what do you reckon to him? Don't know if you've seen him, Ben.
Yeah, no, I saw him.
Yeah.
Really classic throwback. I mean, all of the Goblin ones so far seem very like retro inspired, which is really cool. I think Nobbler probably the most so.
Yeah, definitely. It felt like the sort of season 2 or version series 2 of Blood Bowl come back, but
it's a remaster.
Yeah, definitely what you should look at, and it straight away looks like one of those models you go, it's going to be pain if it's ever going to go to the ground. But it's never going to be on the ground for very long, because if it goes to the ground, it's going straight off the pitch.
Exactly, and +3 to armor and everything.
And also that a kind of model that if you are playing goblins and your opponent doesn't really know what it is, you can look at that and go, I know exactly what that does, and I'm quite scared of that straight off.
Yeah, unmistakably a chainsaw.
Unmistakably, and they kind of kept the like triangle bit of his classic chainsaw bit.
That's the very retro bit, isn't it?
It just looks completely nonsensical and unnecessary. I do have my Brute Fun bits, and I'll upload those so when we do the hobby bits, because I printed off Brute Fun stars because they're very similar and just
available now.
Yes. Yeah, I printed baseline and everything. No, so Nobbler is on the way. Scrapper is also going to be on the way. I'm very excited to see a Ripper model, but release schedule wise, I think like you called it, Trips, it's going to be months.
I can see us getting a star every few weeks for the next few months to fill out until a new team, probably end of Q1, I would imagine. So we'll probably get that dribble of stars and detail, which will fill it out quite nicely and remind us that there is still something we don't own.
Yeah.
So kind of prefacing our main subject, but do you think we're going to see Bryce the Slice from the Spike 11, the chainsaw skeleton, or Grashnak Blackhoof?
Wait, didn't they make it?
Nope.
They still haven't made him?
They have not made those two yet. No, I think the longest running star we were without is old Shumbleskin Tiny Man. But he's out now.
Shumbleskin Tiny Man. Yeah.
It was not the most exciting release. I think we'll take a little bit of a divergence here, but like when it comes to Games Workshop taking too long, I feel like in the Blood Bowl community, they got such a small window before apathy sets in. Like not like just generally from like Games Workshop release schedule point of view. Table. But like they released all the star players, then Grebo and Punga both were like, oh yeah, okay, here's a Rumbelow sheepskin. So anybody who needs a Rumbelow sheepskin for a tournament is going to be like, okay,
grab one, do one, and
find one, I'll convert one, and then they released the Forge World model, and everyone's like,
I've already done this.
Yeah.
That's not out. Like, how is this? Yeah, I feel like
the ones that come out with the teams, I think they're the ones that get the
Huge
proper
splash.
excitement, because people are like, I'm going to buy the team, I'm going to buy a couple of stars to go with it, I'm going to get the spike, I'm going to complete the set. Whereas, like the Treeman when it came out, lovely model when it came out, 50,000 previews after we first saw it, but did anyone who needed a tree man go, oh, I've been waiting so long for
No,
that?
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, I found another tree man.
Yeah, every Blood Bowl player has their own tree man. I swear they're always different.
I really like that.
I love that.
I think that's. I was thinking about this because obviously we're going to the Trips. There's the Sevens tournament in Warhammer World, and like last night I was like, oh yeah, cool. What team? Orcs are good. I could print no, I can't print a team. Right, which of my teams are legal at Games Workshop? And I was like, Snotlings. The trolls aren't official trolls. They're Games Workshop trolls. I was like, I've actually got that. And I think trolls are very similar to Treeman in that, because no disrespect, but the Blood Bowl's troll is just weak sauce.
Yeah, that's fine.
Annoying to assemble, as we've all found out over time.
And store.
Yeah.
Really baffling one. So I think, Treeman and trolls are probably the two most like individualistic parts of Blood Bowl, which is really good. Anyway, star players coming soon, maybe. Old school like chainmail on him is so good as well.
Yeah, he's got that helmet that goes like over his face.
Yeah,
that's
the
very
weird
iconic.
half like bucket helmet is
Yeah.
very strange. Brute Fun's done a good job. 3G. How do you live in pool Trips? Honestly,
Get good Wi-Fi.
What is next? Oh, I'll put this out of sequence, but we'll just have a little bit of a hello session to Ian Warhammer, who started his own YouTube channel. So yeah, this is cool. So Ian started his little painting YouTube. He's got 2 videos out now. The first one was on how to very specifically paint your trees to look like birch trees.
Yeah, which is a good tip.
And full of puns, which I loved.
Yeah,
and
totally birched.
Yeah. What's up, birches?
You can play Count the Dad Jokes, and Ian is our resident dad joke king.
I think so. His next one is Fool's Gold, painting gold without gold, which was accredited to his wife coming up with that title. Yeah. But he's done a really good job. He's come a long way in just 2 videos after we kind of bullied him a bit. But he was like, "Oh, let's have some CNC."
So if you want some really good tips, Ian's. I mean, he's one of our best painters in the group, and turns out some sickeningly good models.
Yes, really good techniques. Really accessible as well.
Yeah,
it's not like you need like every gadget.
No.
It's going to cost you £700. It's like, no, you've got the paints that you have.
Or in this one's case, you don't even need gold to paint gold.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You only need 3 paints, or potentially 5, depending on how well
you can do this with 3 paints plus 3 more paints. But it's really cool. So I'll put the link into the show notes. I did share the video on the channel as well. But it's if you're after some more painting content and just want to support Ian, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, go and click on subscribe. See how many viewers he can pick up, and let's freak him out with the number of email notifications.
Yes, that would be great. Not saying spam him, but it is Christmas. What a gift that would be. There we go. Right, ticking over. Okay, this is going to be opinion time. Have you guys seen The Witcher?
I actually haven't.
What?
I actually haven't.
Yeah.
Have you played The Witcher?
I am currently replaying it because they released the remaster.
So I'm on the other side to you. I've never played the games at all. I just watched the Netflix show because I was like, nothing's on. Like swords, dragons. Like, okay. Like, I've seen Conan. This can't go wrong. And I fell in love with it. I thought it was amazing. And then I was gutted when what was it? Is it Hunger Games is going to be replacing him?
Oh, Liam Hemsworth.
Yeah. He may not have been in Hunger Games. I feel like he was. I don't think he was at all.
No.
Thor's brother.
Yeah. He's been in something I've watched.
He's been in quite a few things.
Yeah.
But he's not Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
He's not. He's the other one.
He's definitely he's in the second version of something when you go, oh.
We can't get Chris.
Yeah.
It's his brother.
Yeah.
Chris.
Is he the Luke Wilson?
Yeah.
The Hemsworth.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Liam.
Thank you. Yes, he had to. Oh, that sucks, doesn't it?
He was in what was the Alien
Prometheus?
Film? Independence Day 2.
Oh.
Yeah, the classic
Independence Day. I saw an article
Yeah.
that flagged that up, and I was like, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I know. Like,
Yeah.
no. Actually bought that movie for my dad on DVD and watched it with him. And The Hunger Games.
He was in that.
He was in The Hunger
Who did he play
Games.
in Hunger Games?
But I don't know.
Oh, he was. Was he?
Wasn't he not the love interest who wasn't
Was it Finnick?
Peter.
Something like that.
Hunger Games? He was Gale.
Oh, it's Gale.
Yeah.
He's Gale.
He's Gale.
Okay. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a while since I saw
Been
that.
a while.
Gale was to Peter
Yeah.
as Werewolf Man was to Sparkles from
Yes.
Twilight.
Yeah.
Yes.
God. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I can't picture him.
Yes. Remarkably good series of books.
Yes.
actually.
Yeah. Apart from the last one.
Audible covered
Yeah, that's
it
fair.
on my
Yeah.
drives to work. Anyway, bye and hello. So Henry Cavill is going to be starring and what was it, producing or something?
I think he's the executive producer. I saw.
Yes. So executive producer and star, which are, as far as I can tell, executive producers are kind of just like consultants.
Yes.
So yeah, not going to be writing it.
Not going to be writing it, but in charge of direction, and we've seen his adherence to the original lore that came through from The Witcher.
Yeah.
So
He got really stroppy about a load of stuff,
Yeah.
which I liked.
but yes,
I did like that. I've loved Warhammer since I was a boy, making this moment truly special for me. The opportunity to shepherd this cinematic universe from its inception is quite the honour and the responsibility, said Henry Cavill. I couldn't be more grateful for all the hard work put in by Vertigo, Amazon and Games Workshop to make this happen, one step closer to making a nigh-on lifelong dream come true. Which is super cool. Like,
it is super cool.
I like the phrase that he used, we, as a community in what he said. And of course it is genuinely a we, because he is a gamer.
Yeah, exactly.
He builds, he hobbies, he plays the trifecta, and so actually, yeah, to have someone who's genuinely involved in it to look after it, I think we're all in that position of like, please be good, please be good, please be good.
Please be good is definitely something that...
Yeah, we say a lot for Games
Yeah.
Please don't mess this up.
In this case, definitely, please be really good, because it's got such potential. I mean, it's going to be 18 months, 2 years until we see anything.
Well, that's the thing, is I haven't seen people talking about this much, and I'm really baffled. What happened to Eisenhorn?
Yeah.
This was announced in like 2018, 2019?
No.
Oh yeah,
No.
the man in the High Castle studio are writing Eisenhorn. And we heard what's happening with it. Because that was huge news.
That may be a pandemic funding issue.
That's what I mean. At the start of this year, though, they said they're still trying to find a studio to fund it.
Yeah, 2019 for the Eisenhorn information.
So I doubt this is going to be Eisenhorn, because they said it's a different writing team.
And I know we're way off topic from Blood Bowl, but
True.
the Eisenhorn books are just incredible.
They are.
And I really love Henry Cavill, because actually he's been great in everything I've watched him in. Superman bores me like you wouldn't and couldn't believe, but he was great.
Yeah.
He can flex with the best of them.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Personally, it was the Mission Impossible reloading the arms thing that did it for me.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, what a lad. And he properly looks like a Space Marine.
Yeah. I remember there's something that's always gone around, is like, who would play the Primarchs if there was a show? Where it's like, everyone pick your favourite actor of the Primarchs. And I know he's like...
him for all of them?
Like Sanguinius, he'd make amazing Sanguinius. Horus he'd do really well.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he just looks like that. A custodian, he'd make a great custodian.
Yeah, he does love custodies, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think someone said Watchers on the Throne, like the Chris Wright series. What they call this saga where it's like the custodies and the sister.
Oh, I don't know.
Craig's
story.
Yeah,
I think
like,
so, yeah.
People are saying that could be a good adaptation.
Yeah.
I haven't read them.
The problem is that, doesn't that go far too niche into...
I think they can. I think niche is okay. I think it would really not be a great idea to make it a big Space Marine Bolterfest. Because I think that's just really naff.
I agree, but I think that's the most marketable product.
I don't know though, because Warhammer Plus, there's not really much Space Marine Bolterfest in
There's
that.
nothing on it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah.
Like Warhammer Plus, and do you know what the worst thing about Warhammer Plus is? I forgot to cancel.
Oh no! Resubscribed, haven't you?
Yeah, it just ticked up one day, and I was
you'll
like,
get another mini in a year's time that you can.
Oh, apparently you can get those minis now, because Ian picked up some, apparently, but I have no interest in any of the minis. I'm like, I just wanted to watch good battle reports, and apparently YouTube is absolutely the place to go for that.
Yeah.
No, but I guess on like making it too niche within a niche, Andor is a really good example of telling a story that has got very little elements of like Andor is the CIA story of Star Wars.
Yeah.
There's like no Jedis. There's hardly any. Is there many stormtroopers?
Not really.
No,
Like in the background, yeah.
It's just like people being people in Star Wars land, and I think that's why I loved it. It's so good.
Yeah.
But like, so I could see them pulling off any kind of story.
Yeah.
I am nervous that they're going to go big. There's been like YouTube's been full of like mini wargaming and stuff reacting, and Ash I think's done a thing saying how good it is. I haven't read any of them, so I've been busy. But
the mini wargaming one's difficult.
Yes. I saw that this morning. I was like, yeah.
I thought it was a parody
Yeah.
of Richard E. Grant. Did you see Richard E. Grant's video where he was like, I've just seen The Rise of Skywalker and it was everything I had? He was doing that impression. I thought it was a parody, and then it went on.
Yeah.
He was like, Dave, it's okay.
oh
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
oh okay. I didn't click on it because I was like,
yeah.
he clearly likes it. That's wonderful. I'm glad he likes it.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I
Yeah.
don't think I'm that excited.
Yes.
Oh, I'm just so scared. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not a massive 40k guy, but I do love the universe. The game seems like punishment, which I think is hilarious. Kill Team,
Play Kill Team. Don't play the
yeah,
full game.
exactly. Epic, you know, it's a great world. But I feel like Amazon have not executed brilliantly on great worlds.
Yeah, Wheel of Time, that had some good feedback. Rings of Power had great
Rings
feedback.
of I know
Jack
that
Reacher
like
series was good.
right, but I was
Yeah.
gonna Trips, I was gonna do that.
Yeah.
I was gonna come back. Jack Reacher,
Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan,
The Boys.
Yeah.
The Boys,
Yeah.
The Expanse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Expanse was sci-fi and then Netflix and then
Yeah.
Amazon and crushed, like literally knocked out Battlestar Galactica as being my favourite sci-fi of all time. Andor's probably in the top 5 actually. Thinking about it, apparently I just like I like Misery and Death.
Good.
The 40k one.
Yeah.
Gonna pick that box
40K will be
right
fine.
off. Yeah, absolutely.
Will people die? Yes. Will there be sad? Will there be
Yeah.
a deep, dark,
As long
brooding
as-
voice in
As
it?
long as I don't learn to love a character for 4 years and then have his head turned into pulp by a stick. I never forgave Walking Dead for that one. Literally stopped watching. I was like, no, too far. Yeah, if they do that, that would be horrible. But actually, that would really fit 40k. I mean,
It could be good. It's a new thing, and I think that's the issue with like at least Rings of Power is people had a lot of expectations for it because it kind of exists, but big screen 40k has not really been done.
Oh.
They tried.
did you
We
see
don't
the
talk about it.
Ultramarines movie?
We don't talk about it.
And isn't it just good for the whole hobby that that's the kind of level that it's got to now, that there
Yes.
is genuinely
Yeah.
a mainstream Hollywood star, one of the main streaming services, are going to make a cinematic universe of something that we all sit around and roll dice and play.
Yeah, and it is mainstream. Even
It
my
really
fiance
is.
came up to me and was just like, "Have you seen they're doing a Warhammer show?" And I was like, "You heard?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mum texted me and was like, have you seen the news today? And I was like, oh, God, who's blown what up?
Are we all there going, now can I get her to watch this and then can we play a game afterwards?
No and no.
Yes.
Tell you that now.
Try and no, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. Tiff has already promised to play Blood Bowl if I continue printing her Wigglytuff Jigglypuff team, which will happen. And that's cool.
Pink Space Marines?
Well, probably wouldn't approve of those ones. Emperor's Children.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, maybe. It is a
Yeah.
pretty horrific realm.
Yeah, it does have Henry Cavill in, which I think will persuade some non-viewers to watch it.
That is a massive, massive pull. So before this 40k news, Mission Impossible is a series Tiff and I have kind of been going on. She watched Maverick 3 times at the cinema, and then we started going through Tom Cruise movies, which is great because there's some great ones, Minority Report and stuff. Like, there's some really good movies there. And then I looked at the Mission Impossible ones and I was like, oh, there's like 12. I was like, let's watch the one with Henry Cavill. Like, I've seen him in it. He looks great fun, great moustache, and I know there's helicopters. So I was like, all right, you know what? This one looks really good. So we're going to watch that movie because it's got Henry Cavill in, which brings that credibility to it. Like, he's actually a really good actor.
He really is. Yeah.
Like, just straight up, the dude can act, and that's so good. And he genuinely looks like young Marnius Cowgirl. Yeah. So
Not as much as Mark Strong, which I'm still saying, if Eisenhorn comes out, it has to be him.
I think he's running out of time, isn't Mark Strong?
Nah, he won't. He'll look the same for ages.
Yeah.
That's the thing with Eisenhorn as well. He's meant to look.
Yeah.
Well,
the
he was
older
like
he gets, the better.
300 years old.
Yeah.
Mark Strong, he was in Sharp, I think, wasn't he?
He's in a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
But he
not
voiced him in the video game they did.
sure. Ooh,
Yeah.
I wonder if they could get him to be Eisenhorn and then Toby Longworth just dubs it.
Well, no, his voice. Because have you played Warhammer Space Marine? The Space Marine action game. Mark
Yeah.
Strong voices Captain Titus. They also made a really naff Eisenhorn video game, and he voiced Eisenhorn. He's not unfamiliar with it, and he looks like him.
He's
So,
got the
yeah,
vibe. He's
yeah.
got the vibe. No, it's really exciting and trips. Like what you said, this making it more mainstream
Yeah.
is, I think, can only be good. Well, I mean, Games Workshop stonks have gone up, and we might
Yeah.
see them claim that plastic got more expensive due to something. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe their
They've
popularity will
got
go
to pay
up.
Amazon for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the prices will go up. And then do you know what we'll do? Print things.
Yes.
So Games Workshop treading very lightly. But no, I thought that was really interesting. I thought it was worth talking about. It's not Blood Bowl, but it might bring more
Definitely
people
hobby related.
Yeah, exactly.
If you can, as we say, if you can get more people in a store playing a game and then go, "Ooh, what's that?" Oh, this is the sports version of Warhammer.
Yeah, exactly. Like you like your NFL, you like just like here we go. Here's a game that you don't have to spend millions of pounds.
You like
to play.
40k, so you already like to you like death and loss. So
Yeah.
let's play a shorter, more fun version of it.
Do you like miniatures? Did Magic the Gathering hurt you? This is the game for you. Next up on the news roll is Ware Games, The Misunderstood Sons, the Dark Elf and High Elf rebuild. They've got 7 days left to go as we're filming, which I realise is of no use because we're actually filming ahead of time for once. Saturday, December 14th, 5 p.m. UTC. If that is later than 11 a.m. UK time, Saturday the 24th, you can go back it. If not, they've done a great job with their goal, $5,500 versus a target of 1,500 or 1,700. I mean, I spoke to Mr. Ware Games himself, and he was like, the timing is just brutal because there's Dark Elf teams coming out the wazoo right now.
Yeah. I think Rick said it beautifully. He was like, how many elf teams can you have before you have too many? And in this case, you're like, well, Rick, you have all the elf teams. So
one thing I really like is it gives you choice.
Yeah.
So you've got the Ugni Corvus guys who've come out, which I'm not overly fond of. I think they're cool. And then you've got the Ware Games, which has just got that true scale thing, and you've got Punga, which is kind of just generic excellence.
Yeah.
So we've gone from having one Dark Elf team that you have to build just on a very good day.
Yeah. And we've all got bits of that in the carpet somewhere.
I'll never forget the day I built the Elven Union team at 1 a.m. the day it arrived, and I just hated my life. And then flashbacks when the Dark Elves of the thumb. Why?
Yeah.
Why the thumb?
A separate thumb? Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I mean, there's some separate body parts in the Punga stuff. I opened up the box and had a look earlier. Like there's separate arms and things, but they're all like they've got little shapes. It's like a toddler's game. It's beautiful. You can't really do it wrong. I think I did on the video, but it takes effort. But the thumb, and I don't think that's even the worst bit of the Games Workshop boxes. I actually think it's the plug on the back of the door of the dwarf team
Oh yeah.
is the worst design.
Why do you have to plug that up?
I don't know. Mine don't have them in.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. Anyway, Ware Games, they do a great job, and we've got an unboxing of that. I think it's actually on their Kickstarter, so you can go and have a look and see the scale and the execution of their models. They do some outrageously good casting, and they always have, right from when they did that Pandemic Army set. I know that the sculpts were kind of seasoned to your taste, but the execution and the casting was just some of the
Come a
best.
long way.
Well, it was the best casting back then that we'd seen since old Windsor Chog, which was kind of like, wow, they've done that, and their sculpting, like Ben says, come a long way, and they've got some really lovely teams, and they corrected the scale on the high elf ones.
Oh, cool.
They did. They've kind of gone back and bulked them out a bit.
Yeah.
It was like they took the me version of it and made a Henry Cavill version of it. To stay on topic. Right. Other news, I think the last bit that we had was the Mole King's Lair, Kraken Fantasy Stadiums. I think by now we would have done a print review of this that would have come out live. Not that would have come out, but obviously when we're recording this. Have you guys had a chance to look at this?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean,
Well, I looked at it and then I was like, oh, I quite like this and I'll back it. And you can tell I hadn't looked at it properly because I hadn't read the files will get instantly delivered. And I was like, I have all the files already. And I was like, so I actually looked at it more through the files than through the actual campaign.
The campaign was very detail light, I thought, because I did exactly the same thing. I mean, the pictures look amazing, and I was like, this is really cool. Like, it went live, so I backed it. I backed it so quickly, I missed that the early bird was actually underneath the other one, so I lost a few pounds on that one. But that's fine. And then, the models appeared.
Yeah. And they're adding in, they're filling out all the things they're finishing off. So I think the Mole King's still to come, but I think I got another update about that last night, and he looks awesome. Definitely, and some lovely fan Skaven within that look really, really fun. And some of the terrain pieces, they look spectacular. Whether they're going to be entirely practical to play with, you never know.
I'm impressed. I mean, when you were around on Tuesday, you saw the test tiles I printed. They are big. They're the right scale. They just feel really big compared to the ones we've seen before, like from MG Picks. Because all the tiles are the right tiles. For Dungeon Bowl. They've got the right size shapes and everything like that. It's really, really, really good. They've got a little border around the edges on some parts. The other parts are there to be like, you've got like this magnet infill thing, but we did see that with the MG Picks one as well. They've got those cool little elements, I guess. Like, so the walls are not walls. They're just like broken bits of wall and stuff, which I tell you what, when I saw that, I was like, that is what we did for our 3D table for the Dungeon Bowl series. I was like, we didn't chuck walls everywhere, we chucked a few bits of wall so that you could see.
Like stopping, cutting the corners and things like that.
Yeah, we went back and watching that series and just being like, there's no wall there, and walking through got much better with the 3D one. And
I looked at it and I thought, I'd seen something else from a video earlier in the week about like building mini display cases using floor tiles and walls, and I was like, I can't believe I've not thought of that. I've got all these lovely walls and floor tiles and details. I was like, that is a little display cabinet for a team straight off there. So
there's a lot of cool stuff you can do.
There's a quick winter project and some dry brushing in my future.
There's no such thing as a quick project. The only thing you can do quickly with a project is start the next one. Now it's on my mini factory. It's STL only. And there's 24 days left. They've raised over nearly $8,000. 139 people have backed it. I am loving everything that I'm seeing from my mini factory at the moment. Tribes is better than Patreon. And these campaigns, what are they called? Frontiers. Are better than Kickstarter because they allow the drip feeding of files immediately. You can do that in Kickstarter. Well, you can't do that in Kickstarter.
You can't, because you've got to wait until it ends to collect.
And it does the payment. I haven't been really impressed. I do like, the thing I really love about Kickstarter is the hype, the builds, and knowing that I'm not paying for it right now, so I can absolutely change my mind, or I can forget and then I've paid now.
Or better be excited. Turns up a year and a half later, you know, can't even remember ordering it.
Exactly.
Or what we call the Ben appearing, going, something turned up at the door, and I've now got to explain what I spent.
I promise I didn't buy anything this week.
The only thing I don't like about my mini factory, and it's a pure thing from a printing point of view, is that because it's the library and detail is all online, which is great because you could never lose it, when I'm looking for files or searching for files, I've got to remember to go into my mini library. And I went in there the other day, and I've got some Patreon files have been delivered, and I was like, oh my goodness, how have I not printed anything of this here? Because I've forgotten I have the file.
I feel like that you guys have probably done the transition curve at work. And when it comes to like 3D printing, there is a massive transition curve, which is like, oh my God, mega hype. And then I've just building this massive, massive collection of things I will never print, and you stop backing things, and then something really cool comes along and you kind of plateau out.
I'd have now my own special hard drive of STLs, which I shall never print more than at least 5% of it.
But being able to just bounce in there and get that one thing, it's like the ultimate bits catalogue.
Yeah, it is. That's a really good comparison, actually.
But you just don't have to find the code out the back of an old white dwarf and send in £2. But I mean, it's a really interesting Kickstarter. Not Kickstarter, but Frontier, in that there's a bunch of different tiers. One is for the actual stadium, so just the dungeon tiles and stuff. There's the merchant one is chunky, 200.
And then the team itself, and that was part of the reason I went for it. So I've never played with a Skaven team. I nearly played with an Underworld team before they nerfed the team and we had yet another lockdown. and I've played against a lot of Skaven teams, and I must admit I hate gutter runners. So
Yeah, you have.
I think at some point in my future, I might actually have to see what all this fuss is about playing like a Skaven coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much is it now? $25 for the constructor, which is all the corridors, all the rooms, all the environment bits. Then you got 25 for the team, or 45 for both. Does that include and they've got loads of little add-ons as well, where they've got the grass field for $15, rock field, stadium scum.
Yeah, you can get nearly anything else they've done as an add-in.
They've done a really good job there, and yeah, if you can get over the lump of paying for it immediately, you get the reward of getting it all immediately.
Yes.
Which was there's the update for the
it will be in your library before you have actually realised that the payment has gone.
Yeah, it's I've been really impressed with it, and this is the Kraken guys. That's the when we had the. I'm going to use a sentence. When we did the tournament here, the Dunlop crew.
Correct.
Yeah, they brought their
Printed and painted.
Printed, yeah.
Electronified.
Print
yes,
pitch.
Yeah.
which was so cool. They had like the little spotlights all plugged in. It was just absolutely brilliant. And
Really cool.
Seeing this stuff is really impressive. So yeah, if you don't have a 3D printer, I'm assuming at some point someone will do it. Printing dungeon tiles though is not the place.
You've
for
printed
resin.
some in resin, and they're not cheap, even when you've hollowed them out. I'll give it a go with some plastic ones this week to see what it's like. I think plastic with very little infill is the way to go for both speed and cost of tile.
Yeah, definitely. A corridor tile was £5 according to the Chitty Box estimate.
Does add up.
Well, hollowed out was £2 something, so it's a little bit better, but
But you're still talking 20 tiles.
it's going to cost you
the end.
£100 to print
Yeah.
a dungeon, which is really interesting, because if there was a Kickstarter or something that was, hey, here's £80 for a fully cast a set of dungeon tiles, I think people would be like, it's a bit expensive, but that's pretty cool. Like, maybe I'll back it. But just the effort of going into supporting all the tiles, making sure they print, cleaning them up and everything is a lot of work. But we've got one of our dungeons done with the MG Pix one. We're going to have a look and see if we can, ready for the next series of our Dungeon Bowl series, we print up the other one using these tiles, because we've got them and they're cool. So I like it. Right, guys, I think that's it for Blood Bowl news. So let's bounce in to hobby. You both doing all right? Okay, so hobby, games, and I think as it is the season, purchases. What has everybody been working on? Anything cool? Anything metallic and silver?
So hobby, no, I've really not done a lot of hobby the last couple of weeks. I think the impending rush towards Christmas has definitely impacted on hobby. I've created an awesome Christmas hobby to-do list, though, which is looking clearly like it'll take me at least the next 6 months to get round to. But I've printed some more tiles for the ever-increasing Kill Team Necromunda tiles, and the boards are turning up today. So, yeah, terrain hobby, fun to come.
Cannot beat a nice terrain project.
Yeah, gotta have a Kill Team board and a Munda tile one. I think is where I'm classing that.
The great thing about Necromunda, though, is that it can be multi-level, which is just dangerous.
Make it very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the 95 Munda with the plastic, with the cardboard and plastic bulk things that you could
Which you
stack
can
stuff.
buy those bulkheads, and then you could just cut the cardboard out, because you can get those designs as well. Not that I figured that one out.
The best was getting 2 sets of the 95 thing, and there was this one like 3-layer, the hexagon one.
Yeah.
Stacked it like this. It was absolutely amazing, completely unplayable.
Yeah.
It's just so
And then
good.
like some tiny little walkway, which you like. The whole purpose is just to see if we can shoot someone off that walkway and they will die on the fall.
And probably the best use of whippy sticks in any game Games Workshop's ever made as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
It doesn't work though, because you're like, well, I can clearly see him because it goes around the corner. Like, there we go, I can hit you with the whippy stick. I've got clear line of sight. It's like, and then
so noisy, aren't they?
They're so good, so satisfying. Oh man.
So not a lot of hobby. Bit of purchasing, obviously the Mole King was in that on.
Oh, I thought you just meant being at Entoyment.
Well, Entoyment, I did pop into Entoyment for a whole heap of Christmas orders for my brother's family, who are all into Dungeons and Dragons, and my nephew's just getting into 40k. Good on him. He's definitely my favourite nephew now.
Good timing too. He's going to have a great TV show when he's in his 30s.
Yeah. So that was good, and so just some bits of pieces. So yeah, keep me busy. But probably at this point we should ask, how are the Necrons going?
Oh yeah, finally, nearly there. Not quite finally done.
Yeah. Is this going to be the last year of Necron?
Yeah,
I think we've had
2 years.
2 years of Necron.
Nearly 2 years I've been doing it for. So final load being done. Just finishing up 9 Canoptic spiders at the moment. It's quite a lot of spiders. Then it's just a few more characters, about 12 scarab swarms. I forgot about them. And then the spider weapons. Yeah, but I have painted a lot of silver and a lot of stippled red carapace. I'm done with it. I'm done with it.
Yeah.
It was a big old task.
Not feeling like playing Necrons anytime soon.
No, I think it makes it around 6,000 points painted.
I was going to ask.
Yeah.
That's only 3 armies. Sort your life out.
Yeah. I can't really remember how to paint other things. I remember I dipped into a couple of Blood Bowl teams a little while back just to do.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wait, flesh? What do you do with that?
Isn't it going to be nice that you're going to be able to like have a whole Punga team and look at it and go, this is like a palette cleanser.
Yeah, it always is.
Proper.
Ben's got like 9 palette cleansers. Haven't you?
On the go.
How many Punga teams have you got locked and loaded now?
Not painted though.
Yeah.
No, but
How many are there?
Yeah.
Ben's got those.
So 7 now? Yeah.
How many did you back on the Kickstarter?
4.
Oh, okay.
And
so
have you
4.
picked your next
5.
league team yet?
Punga?
It was going to be Tomb Kings.
Yeah.
So I was already prepping a scheme for them. Then I remembered in my Kickstarter, they sent me 2 throwers. 3 throwers, 1 blitzer. So I had a duplicate thrower. And so I need to sort out the spare blitzer. I need to speak to Punga. And it's going to take, because it's coming from
Yeah.
the east.
Yeah.
They've got a sale on at the moment. Their teams are $99 instead of $179.
That's actually pretty good, because I got a voucher from them too. So I might have to place the order.
We know what Ben's doing later today.
Yeah.
8 teams.
So I'm probably going to put Tomb Kings on hold, because I think you want the 2 blitzers.
Yeah,
Tomb
yeah.
Kings, so it's just going to set it back a bit. So I think the new league team's going to be Chaos Dwarf.
Oh,
So
that's
Christmas is gonna start
miserable.
Yeah.
I want to play something that's totally out my ballpark. Normally I'm the sort of dashy edge team. Chaos Dwarf seems not that.
I can. It's going to be horrible to lose to Chaos Dwarfs dodging. That's going to.
I mean, because the Hobgoblins,
Hobgoblins are as good as Skaven linemen. Yeah,
Yeah,
when it comes to dodging.
still got that.
God, that's going to be stressful watching you do that.
Yeah.
Bull Centaur, 4+.
Yeah.
Yeah. I put on break tackle on them, it'll be fine.
Break tackle's not so good for them anymore.
Still makes you dodging a 3+ though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all you need. That's all you need. Yeah.
That's a Ben Dodge, as we call it.
Yeah, no. But yeah, I think I might go with them, because I got the complete team. It's Bash, it's different, and the models are cool.
Yeah,
So-
Milton will be proud. He has brought you to the Bash side.
Yeah.
And actually, it'll be really useful for you to get a season in before they change them.
Yeah.
Because at some point they're going to get shifted over.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt like that as we were going towards the end of Amazons. Like with our tournaments, I kind of thought people might be like, well, actually, last time for me to run Amazons before they get kind of,
Although I think
reimagined.
as an experienced player, you almost get to the point of going, I'm either going to play them now, or I'm going to pause and hold and wait till they get changed and then play them again.
Because I guess like Chaos Dwarves are not really any different than they were on Blood Bowl 2.
No.
Not really any different. You can probably binge a bunch
Just without the piling on the claw pomp.
Yeah,
spam,
your skill. The skill thing is very different, but when it comes to Chaos Dwarves, they're not scoring like the actual Chaos Dwarves are not scoring a lot of touchdowns, so they're not getting a lot of SPP. So it doesn't, and they're going to get to 6 SPP and choose block. And in the new edition, they're going to get to 6 SPP and choose. Oh, sorry, not block, guard. They're going to get 6 SPP and choose guard. So it's kind of like actually you could probably binge Blood Bowl 2 for the Chaos Dwarf vibe, but they are a powerful team and a really popular team. And Punga. It's not like they've done a bad job of it with their Chaos Dwarf team.
Yeah, and so you are right. It'll be good to try them as well before the roster shifts because I think it's probably one we're quite likely to see, and it could be totally different. I don't think it will be, but it could be.
I don't think it will be. Maybe we'll get another positional. I don't think we will.
That team seems very new edition compatible. Doesn't it? Chaos Dwarves.
Yeah, it'll be a tweak rather than a massive change.
Or can you imagine the rage if they go down to 4 Chaos Blockers?
It's not really a Chaos Dwarf team then, is it? I think you need the 6 to call it that.
I think you do.
It's the Hobgoblin team.
It's barely a Chaos Dwarf team.
Yeah.
Talk about that. Okay, hobby-wise, I've got a little bit up on the screen. I have been very busy, like you guys said, doing the Fen Beasts and the orders ready for Christmas, which has been really, really cool. Excuse me.
And the Fen Beasts, having seen them in person, oh, it's a nice model.
It's cool. It is chunky and it is beautiful. Brute Fun has done such a good job sculpting that. All the little Blood Bowl details on it. That's like little helmets sticking out of his legs and stuff. It's so good. I did base one and prime it. I've not showed that off yet, but I also based, haven't primed yet, the Ripper model from Brute Fun. So the Saturn 2 is printing Fen Beasts. The Mars 2 Pro is for them. So that's where I print my whatever I fancy printing, so the Mole Rat team and stuff like this. I don't think Games Workshop are going to be able to do a model that is as good as the Ripper that Brute Fun's done.
I know. Yeah, it's phenomenal.
It's awesome. He's got his little specs. He's got his little book, and it's there. Like
he doesn't always have the book if you don't want it as well. That's something he added. Yeah. He's like, some people were just like, oh, I'm not too keen on the book, so why not have both?
Yeah.
Choose.
And as we said earlier, it's that Ripper's now, the stats and the detail is out now, so people are going to be like, I want to play with Ripper. I want to play with him in a tournament at some point in the future. There's a really good one in February to go to if you want to in Bournemouth. That you're going to want to get the model, get it started, get it on the painting backlog sooner rather than later, rather than hope and pray and desperately that Forge World will deliver you that model before your roster goes in.
And then the cleanup of the resin model and the building of the 9 to 12 pieces.
Yes.
Brute Fun, I took off the supports, I did the cleaning, and then I glued him to a base. And that was it.
Yeah.
But I also got the 2-star players that he's done as well. He's done Scrapper and he's done Chainsaw Lad. The Chainsaw guy, his front foot is flat, so he's like running, dragging the chainsaw along behind him. I reposed him using some of the base bits that Brute Fun's just done. So he's got like some lines for the thing, which
really
I love.
nice pieces, yeah.
And a foam finger. So I glued this guy's back foot to the foam finger, used that as a larger point for the base, and now he's kind of in the air, and you can see his face and his detail because he's got proper Ferengi teeth, and I really wanted to show it off, which I thought was cool. It's a very cool model, and Scrapper's
amazing.
Is perfect.
Yeah, it's so perfect. That is exactly what I imagine Scrapper will look like.
Yeah.
And I glued some popcorn to the base of that one because I just love the basing bits. I was talking to John, he was like, well, I want to do some basing bits. You got any ideas? I was like, do pitch lines. Like, just do pitch lines. Thin little lines.
We had a great debate in the chat the other day about how to paint pitch lines, and it was like it just got to the point of going, oh, good luck.
I think you suggested use your rarest Magic the Gathering card or something like that, which really annoyed me.
Otherwise, if the shiny Charizard would do. But no, pitch lines are going to be perfect, I think. So glue the pitch line on, put sand to the left and right, and worry about it, paint it all up, and just dry brush the line and put the flock everywhere else. It was going to work perfectly. I've got a few bits of hobby done with that, which has been nice. Otherwise, I mean, you guys know what it's like brewing towards Christmas. You end up doing a month's worth of work in 2 weeks because there is a 2-week period where no one's at work.
Yeah.
So it's kind of been manic, which has been good. I nearly went the wrong way to come here today because when I leave Totton and go to the motorway, right goes to Bracknell, left comes here, and I had to go around the roundabout twice. So I was like, oh, I'm going the wrong way. It's a great roundabout. Left is Entoyment, straight over is McDonald's, right is work. And somehow I was like, I'm just going to go right. No, I'm not going right. Round the side. Do I want a McDonald's? Round again. No, I don't want a McDonald's. Off I go to enjoyment, which was my journey here today.
Whereas nearly everywhere I go locally now, every route goes, well, I just go past enjoyment. I don't need to, but nearly every route's got well, I'm just passing.
If I leave the house, it's either here or work, which is right next to the next to each other, so it's always the same for me. Yeah. I know this journey pretty well now.
Ah, it's awesome. It's awesome. But hobby over Christmas, guys, you going to get much chance to do anything?
Hopefully. I'm trying to get these Necrons done before Christmas, so I have the chance to do that.
Brilliant.
So, yeah.
Tiff is working all of Christmas, so I'm not taking time off over Christmas, so I'll still be working, but I'm hoping to get a little bit of gluing done. I've got to pick up my Christmas present from my parents today. So we're like, oh, get yourself a little hobby gift and we'll pay for it. I'm like, thank you. Every year I buy a rule book, so I've got the Kings of War Armada rule book to pick up before I leave, just so I can just chill out and read it, because I will never ever play it, I fully imagine. But I like rules. Let's see how flyers work in fantasy naval battle games. So I imagine I'll probably be buying some of that I won't paint, but that's fine. That's fine too. Excuse me. We've all got the winter lurgy, or if you don't, Ben.
No, apparently.
It's coming.
Yeah, well, after today.
Have it tomorrow.
Okie dokie. Anything more for hobby and bits and bobs?
I think that's it.
No.
All right, let's hit our first topic. Okay, so the first topic we're going to hit today properly is the NAF World Cup rules set. We've given it a few weeks because we've had other stuff going on to kind of percolate, to see what people are saying out there. And we're going to have a look at what it is and what we think is good and or not good about it. Because I think there's a bit of a mixed bag here. And I think as a group, we're quite good at kind of finding out the whys, which I think is really important because, well, we've run some tournaments. None of them as big as the World Cup. So I'll link it below in the video. But basically, the build for the World Cup is 1.15. So 1,150,000 gold pieces to build your team. You need 11 players. Any unspent cash is gone. You buy rerolls. You do that stuff. It's resurrection. Same as tournaments. So no SPPs, etc. And all the regular stuff. You can have star players after 11. A big asterisk on that one. Star players can't get skills, etc, etc, etc. When it comes to the World Cup, they are teams. You have a team of coaches and your coaches all have teams of players. So there's teams of, I think, 6. I'm not sure if they're doing the 7th stand-in person.
6, and I think there's a substitute.
Yeah. So you build a squad of 6 players and you each have your own team. There's some restrictions in that we'll come to in a minute. So when it comes to the actual building of the team, you've got 1.15 million for 9 games over 3 days, and they're not using the Games Workshop tiering system. I'd love to talk about that. They've gone with 5 tiers. So tier 1, Chaos Dwarf, Dark Elf, Dwarf, Human, Lizards, Orc, Undead, Wood Elves. Tier 2, Amazons, Elven Union, High Elves, Necro, Norse, Skaven, Slan, and Underworld. Tier 3, Black Orcs, Chaos, Imperial Nobility, Khorne, Nurgle, Tomb Kings, Chaos Renegades, Old World, and Vampires are tier 4, and Halflings, Goblins, Ogres, and Snotlings are tier 5. So they've split up the tiers. Basically, if you're tier 1 in the actual rulebook, you will be tier 1 or tier 2. And if you are tier 2 in the rulebook, you'll be tier 3 or tier 4 when it comes to your team. I think probably, and this is just complete nonsense and a Ben way of doing it, I think tier 1A and 1B would have probably been a better way of doing it, because at least it kind of corresponds to the Games Workshop rulebooks a bit.
Yeah.
But it's hardly the worst thing in the world, and we see this a lot. But within those tiers, you get a choice of skill package, basically. We'll use the tier 1 example here. So A is 6 primary skills. B is 4 primary skills and a secondary skill. Or C, 3 primary skills and access to 1 star player. So there is a limitation on tiers 1 through 4 that you can only have 1 star player. And to do that, you'll have to take the C package, which gives you less skills. Basically, no, it isn't. There's no linear thing there. I thought, there's a pattern. There's no pattern. It's just you get your primary skills and access to a star player as there. So tier 1, if you wanted to take a Chaos Dwarf team, Ben, getting ready for your league, and you wanted to run a star player in there, probably Hackflem, knowing you. Ben has never run Hackflem, disclaimer. You would get a Chaos Dwarf team at 1.15 with Hackflem.
And only 3 primary skills.
However, there is a further addendum to this, which is there is an extra charge for some star players.
A tax.
A skill tax, basically. So Wilhelm Chaney costs you 1 primary skill, Bomber, Creek, and Hackflem, and Deeproot 2 primary skills, Morgan Thorg and Griff 3 primary skills. So back to Ben's Chaos Dwarf Hackflem build, he would have to choose Package C, 3 primary skills and access to 1 star player, and then to use Hackflem or Creek, which is a fairer assumption of which star player you'd run, Ben, it would have to spend 2 primary skills. So your 1.15 Chaos Dwarf build would have Hackflem and Leader.
Yes.
No, wouldn't even be able to take Leader on Chaos Dwarfs. Ben, I don't think you should run Chaos Dwarfs I don't think you should run the Chaos Dwarf Hackflem build. So I guess to summarise, you've got star player skill tax, you've got multiple skill packages, and you've got split tiers away from the actual rulebook of the game. All of those I think we'll talk about. And then you've got the squad rule, which is...
So for the squad rules, you can't have more than 1 of the same star player in your squad. So you can't have multiple Hackflems taken.
Yep.
And you can only have one team member with each race.
Okay.
So you can't run a 6-player Chaos Dwarf
Hackflem build,
single skill build.
Blood Tithe style.
That's so not
Throwing shade here. Unnecessarily. The man who started his Blood Bowl career running goblins.
Sue you for libel.
Yeah, so someone's not...
Slander.
You're not going to get someone who's gone, this is a meta build and this is perfect for the build, and we've turned up with 6 of them, and you're going to see it 6 times.
Yeah.
All right, where do you want to start with this one, guys? Because there's a few strong things to talk about. Do we literally just start at the top and work our way down?
I think so, yeah.
All right. How do you feel about the teams being split up into tiers?
I think it's unnecessary. I can see an argument for it, but the way they've done it, like we've talked about this before, of having more tiers because some of them just don't feel right.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, what's a good? Are vampires really in the same league as orcs? Are they tier 2 or are they tier 1? They're tier 1, aren't they?
Orcs are tier 1.
No, but in Games Workshop terms,
they're now tier 2. They got dropped.
Yeah. So like, are vampires really on the same sort of strength as orcs?
Yeah.
And just like, probably not. So I can see why splitting them up further could be beneficial. But here, they've put Skaven right next to Slan?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't really understand where that comes from.
And I think where we've seen different tiers be used, it is in relation to the roster size and the skill set and detail. This feels like they've just split the tiers out into one, as we will now call them, Ben's 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B. Just to slightly differentiate the skills package. It's not really given any other change for the teams and details.
Yeah.
And it hasn't done what a lot of people would do with different tiers, which is pick up that team is in the wrong place for this skill set and detail, so we'll up them or down them a tier or detail. It's just spread the skills packages out a bit.
Yeah, I don't mind the expansion of the tiers. I think we've seen it a lot in times, and I think you're right. Like, the classic tier 2 debate was tier 2.5, right? Mm-hmm. Vampire, Nurgle, Tomb Kings, are they really as bad as Elves and Underworld and Necro? No. No, they are harder to run. And I've always believed that when it comes to tournaments and stuff, having a tiering system that gives more skills to other teams, it's not a balance. It's an incentive. It helps with your pack, like making sure that there are reasons to run a team. Like Wood Elves and Elven Union. In the olden times, you'd never run Elven Union because Wood Elves were just better. So what's the point? Elven Union, get a couple more skills. All right, well, actually, I like the idea of that. They're a bit cheaper. I can do something different with that. And it gives that kind of incentive to run it. Then to your point about whether these tiers are stacked logically, I'm really interested by this. Now, we do the monthly meta and we kind of go through the NAF stats, and we track who's been winning, and I can tell you that Tomb Kings have been doing brilliantly at tournaments, and the average tournament build is 1.15 with a few skills, which is exactly what this package is. So Tomb Kings, if anything, should be top tier.
And they don't usually run stars, do they? Tomb Kings.
No, you can get a cheeky Wilhelm build, but you have to lose Tomb Guardians, generally speaking, to do that, which most coaches don't want to do. Tomb Kings win by having a few extra skills because they're tier 2, and just consistency.
And it's worth pointing out when you talk about Tomb Kings in tournaments, because 1.15 is around the general tournament build, but actually this is quite a heavy 1.15 because this is a generous skill package. So if you look at Tomb Kings, that's 7 primaries and a secondary.
Yeah,
it's a lot. So that it's not a 1.15 TV team. You're talking about a 1.25 to 1.3 TV realistically,
or 5 primary, 2 secondary, which is probably what I imagine most Tomb King players would pick up on that to get 2 secondaries. Or would you just run a guard everyone?
I mean, you're looking at for something like Tomb Kings.
No, I mean that's 2 block guardians, and you still got 5 skills to give both your throwers block and tackle on your blitzers.
Yeah, you can pretty much give the skills out, and you can stack what skills on one player, but again, you have to trade in skills to do it.
Let's have a quick look at the rules for that one. Stacking. Where was the stacking rules? Each team is permitted to stack 2 primary skills on a maximum of 1 player at the cost of both 1 primary skill and 1 secondary. You can't stack skills if you don't have secondaries. So you can use a secondary skill to be a second normal skill on a player.
Right.
Instead. Okay. So in that Tomb King build, you've got 5 primaries and 2 secondary skills. You can basically turn both of them into a second normal skill and put on top of something else. Excuse me. Okay. I think the tier balance here is interesting. Chaos Renegades, Old World Alliance and Vampires being the bottom of the packet is probably fine. I think...
I don't know, Renegades I don't think would be down there.
Yeah. I mean, Renegades with 6 primary skills and 2 secondary skills, or 6 primary and a star player, that's
pretty scary. Renegades do really well with skills.
Yeah.
Really
well. Everybody has block day.
Yeah, this is interesting. Like the good thing is, because there's so many skills, I think every one of these teams has a really good build, which is I think a massive strength of this packet, this skill package, is that you can take any team and you will have enough skills to make them have a good time.
But as we've seen
exception of Orcs.
As we've seen in some of the tournaments we've run and some of the Super Series and development up, so when teams get to this point, the games genuinely take quite a bit more extra time because everyone's got inbuilt rerolls for stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone will have block. There'll be a lot of guard. There'll be tackle. There'll be lots of blodgers around all over the place. So there really is going to be a sort of, it is a heavy TV tournament as opposed to a sort of newer build. These are going to be what you want to play rosters.
Mm-hmm.
So Chaos Renegades are sitting at 49% win rate overall, which is above Snotling, Khorne, Nobility, Nurgle, Chaos Chosen, Ogre, Halfling. Humans are sitting at 48%. Black Orcs are down there at 43%. Where's Black Orcs in this?
Black Orcs are tier 3.
Tier 3, so 7 primaries and a secondary, or 5 primaries and 2 secondaries.
So Black Orcs are tier 3. Chaos Renegades, Old World and Alliance. It's a really interesting one. Given that the NAF has all these stats, I am really surprised that they haven't just gone, let's have a look at the win rates over the last 6 months and apply those, which I don't think is what we're seeing here. Or let's take the win rates of Blood Bowl 2020 and apply those win rates and actually use that to put the tier. Put in, Lizardmen, Orcs, Undead, Wood Elves above Underworld is an interesting one.
High Elves have been doing well as well, right?
High Elves are, number 2 at the moment? And have been for almost the whole thing. Yeah, High Elves 56%, Underworld at 60.
And they're tier 2.
Yeah, and in the last period we did, Underworld would were top place. Period wins percentage, 56%. Underworld, Dark Elf, High Elf, Wood Elf, Slan, Amazon, Dwarf, Tomb Kings, Old World Alliance and Undead were the top 10 in the last period.
Old World Alliance are down.
Old World Alliance are a tier 4 team in this, and we know Old World Alliance are that classic. They are difficult out the box. Skilled up Old World Alliance, well, that's a completely different kettle of fish.
Old World Alliance are bang on 50% win rate.
But there's also quite a low sample on them, right? Maybe that's the big brain strategy. Maybe they want more data for Old World Alliance, so they're putting them to tier 4 to encourage people to run them.
Old World Alliance, 1,100 games.
But only one in each squad.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Which is, basically the lowest other than my boys. Oh, less than Slan.
Wow, yeah.
Slan, 53% win rate at 1,200 games. Okay. I in this day and age, it feels like there's a lot of a lack of logic kicking around just in the world, and this one fits in with the pattern that we're seeing from 2020s. So that's okay. Is there anything on there that's just horrific?
So for me, there's one horrific bit to the build rules, and that's the Amazon and Future Stars section, which we should probably touch on. So
take it away, Trips.
You can't use the new Amazon Stars, and you can't use anything that was released after the new Amazon Stars. So
the 8-star players from the most recent almanac.
So no Ripper, no Cindy. So not everyone's going to turn up to a bomber with this tournament.
I can see a pro there.
which it does. Yeah, not everyone's going to have a bomber, but and I think that within the rule book, it's done as the Amazon Stars aren't there, as there's not enough data to know where they are in detail. But it's like the World Cup is in September, October time.
Yeah, September.
And a lot of people are going to play with these teams all year to practice and prep for them. That feels like Amazon's got a pretty heavy nerf in terms of, if you want to play Amazons, you will have to play pure Amazons and not bring all the stars.
I wonder if that's got anything to do with the perceived impact of Estelle. That ability to just kind of bonehead another player for the entirety of the next turn could be a massive impact.
But if you're worried about it, put her on the stars that you've got to buy a skill to play for.
I don't think you'll be wanting to do that with Amazons.
Yeah.
Like, you're probably wanting the skills for Amazons.
Yeah.
They skill up so well. Like, I think that's a heavy enough tax, saying if Estelle costs 2 SPP, which we haven't really touched on that much. I actually quite like that aspect. I quite like the star tax.
I do like the star tax.
We've been talking a lot about, like, we've seen these stars all the time. How do we change it? We've been saying about having a rotation, things like that, a tournament rotation.
Yeah.
It kind of is that. Yeah. It's just like a temporary tax.
It almost feels like it's taking into account that in May we're all hoping that some of the stars values will change in the next FAQ, and it's like, well, they're actually already building that in because you've got to lock the rosters down now.
What I thought was quite interesting is that the NAF have now released the tournament guidelines for 2023, and in the tournament guidelines they've said you can ban specific star players now. That was always a historic all or nothing. They've put it in there. They've just put, look, we understand that people are sick of some star players and want to run events. Actually, fine, like, do what you want. That's okay. I mean,
it's not a very us thing. I think for our tournaments, we want as many people to play with as many things, and it's But I mean, ours are generally slightly more fun, and that's the detail. This is the World Cup.
It's the logic, isn't it? If you can only make one tournament in a year, and let's say this is your team that you have, and you have the star player, and you really want to play with them, it would suck to be like, oh, it's banned.
I agree.
Yeah.
And actually, you know what? I think I don't want to be too negative about this, because as a rule set, this is fine.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like, if I was going to play this on a Saturday or even a 2-dayer, I'd be like, all right, yeah, I can take any team I want, and there's enough skills or stuff in there that I can build something that I want to play at that event. And ultimately, there's a lot of variation in there, And we're thinking about this, I think, from a TO point of view of like why is that happening? But actually, we might want to just reframe that as a player point of view. And this is now a how do I win this format event, because teams are not sitting where you'd expect them to be. So some higher teams are lower with bigger skill packages and other way round. So we can now get to the point where actually this rule set is encouraging maybe 3,000 Blood Bowlers to really kind of game the system a bit. But to your point, Ben, that skill tax means that it's not necessarily going to be an egregious Morg, Hackflem, Griff thing, which I think is an absolute bomber of a build.
And I
Pun
think,
included?
Yeah.
And I think from that roster building thing, as soon as I started looking at this for what would I play for what I thought was good, I went straight for those. What are those teams that a heavy skills package would really benefit? Not what star can I sneak into the roster. It was more, actually, this is heavy skills. So let's build, where do I need block on everyone, dodge on everyone, or a smattering of skills and details. So that was where I started to try and optimize the skills package.
I don't know, man. Like Renegades with Hackflem at 1150. Hackflem's 210. So if you give up a skill, you give up a reroll, you can afford that plus starting value of Renegades with 6 skills and a Renegade roster with Hackflem. That's exciting. And OWA, exactly the same package, 6 plus a star. Difficult to fit everything in, and I think it's a tough one. I think Renegades are just a little bit better off than
a little bit
OWA.
cheaper to start off with.
Yeah,
because I ended up looking at it, and it's almost 2 tiers of teams that I'd have liked to play with this, and ironically they're 2 tiers next to each other. So there's the tier with sort of Amazons and High Elves, Elfin Union and Norse in.
Yeah.
And I thought that tier, but you take a big skills package. I thought they're all teams that are going to massively benefit from a lot of primary skills, because each of their players needs 1 more skill to be very good.
I actually like tier 2B, Skaven, 5 primaries and a secondary.
Yeah.
Secondary for the Roger, 5 primaries for my team. Yes,
that's
please.
a lot of damage.
You take that every day.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah.
And then the tier below it, which is, I think must be tier 3, so that's
Black Orcs, Chaos Chosen, Nobility,
so I
Khorne,
looked at that and
Nobility.
thought Chaos and Nobility and Khorne, that skill package with potentially the star, I thought all of those teams, they're pretty chunky at that stage. Or you could not take the star, and that would give you some additional secondaries to get around the fact that all of those teams have got a natural flaw, and most of those teams have got a flaw with the ball, less with the Nobility. It's
Do you know what? The more I look at this, the more I think this is probably, some of this is really good. Because I'm thinking, Black Orcs, yeah. What does every Black Orc team have in it at the moment?
Oh, yeah.
Flipping Bomber. Well, you get 7 primary and a secondary, or 5 primary and Bomber. Now,
Well, and still a secondary.
no, just 5 primary and Bomber.
Does the star take up a second? Oh, yeah, because
Yeah,
tier C. Yeah, of course, yeah.
Oh, and then Bomber would be the additional tax as well. Yeah, which we haven't even
So it'd be
considered.
3 primary and bomber.
Yeah, which is rubbish. Rubbish. So
particularly if you line up against a team that's got 7, 5 or 5
you can have 8
singles
skills or 3 in Bomber.
Yeah.
Which is just like, it's not just from what am I likely to win with. Actually, if you go into a 3-game tournament, Bomber might give you what you need. But for 9 games, just playing with 3 skills and Bomber just absolutely makes me...
I don't think we're going to see many stars at this World Cup at all. I don't think we're going to get many tier Cs. I think you're going to get occasional ones. I think, like you say, I think Chaos Nobility Khorne with a star could be seen. But even halflings having to sacrifice their secondary... And what is it? 4 prime. So if you want to run halflings with deep root, which is kind of a staple, right?
Oh, mate.
You're losing out on 3 secondary skills.
No, Ben.
And 2 more primaries.
You're going from 8 primary and 2 secondary
Yeah.
down to 2 primary skills.
Yeah.
Or is deep root 3 primaries?
No. Oh. Sorry, I'm looking at primaries. That's 2. They get access to 2-star players at tier 5, don't they?
Yeah. So you get.
So yeah, you're right. Actually,
get-
it's 4 primary skills and deep root, or 8 primary and 2 secondary.
Yeah. It's like It's such a big tax.
But I think what you'll also see then, and partly because this is the World Cup, it's quite a competitive tournament. There's not tier 5. There's not a lot of benefit to take that because those teams need they need a star, but you are punishing them. I like the fact in the middle tier that actually the teams that are good anyway that can sneak a bomber or something in, that actually you are really penalising them with the skills to take the scar. I think for those lower teams who they need the star desperately, I think, who wants to design a halfling roster with 3 or 4 primary skills on the go? Yeah, I'm going to be competitive and not by game 6 be like, why did I make this choice?
Yeah, I think you guys are absolutely right. We're going to see some specifically chosen stars and some rosters that are specifically built around that star player. Basically, your first beachhead build with Griff, right?
Yeah.
I do think that the tax of the tier and the tax of the star added together is probably double dipping. I think they could probably get rid of that C package with this access to star player and just be like, you can take 6 primary, 4 primary and secondary, and every star player is 1 skill except for these, which are more, because then you're like, right, if I want to run a Wood Elf team, that's 6 things, and I want a tier 3 star player, then I'm down to 3 primary skills. Okay, can I balance that in? Instead of going, which exactly what I just did, I was like, so you can take this, drop that, and then you also lose more skills. So halflings are running 2 guard treemen. And deep root, and you're like, I don't know if that's fun for the weekend. For the week, well, so it's over half a working week, isn't it? 3 days.
It's going to be an interesting World Cup. We're going to be seeing a lot of. It's kind of. I think it's going to feel like people are bringing their best as a coach. So like, a lot. We're not going to see much stunty teams for this reason. We probably would have done otherwise, but I think it's going to force people to be right. Okay. Let's pick a real team. Let's try really hard with the team. Let's not rely on a star winning the game for me. This is going to be coaches having to play with the team and learn the team, which I think is also quite interesting. I'm keeping an open mind with it because
I'm really looking forward to seeing in some of the tournaments in the run up, and we've already seen it with the guys who are coming to some of our future tournaments. They're going to use their World Cup team in the tournament, obviously have to tailor it down because ours are generally lighter skills to give it a go. So it'll be really interesting to see what those builds feel like and what they've learned during that time. Actually, I think it's a really good training way actually to train up. We all know that you learn your best Blood Bowl when you don't have rerolls. So actually to play the same team with having to drop a reroll to get it in the team V or being a couple of skills less.
Yeah. You're about right with that one.
That's going to be good fun to see. So
1150 to 1100, it's the same roster, but probably more skills and and 1 less reroll, which, like you said, you're playing tighter. There's so much about this that I like, and there's also so much about this that I'm a bit like. But I think what you said there about it being the World Cup, it's the World Cup. It's competitive. Like, this is competitive, and these builds are not inclusive builds. Like, that's what we always do at all of our tournaments. We want every team to be viable. We want everyone to be able to run what they want to run.
A third split in the tiers. We've seen that.
We've done well with that because actually, it's just more Blood Bowl is more better. And there's nothing worse than, I think maybe you've had this, where, or one of you guys, where you play a tournament and you play 2 of the same team in, for 2/3 of your game, the same kind of roster. It's just a bit like, it seems a bit of a shame. So where they've gone to all this effort of like, incentivizing the other teams, I do like that. The star player skill cost, like the tax, I think,
I'm a bigger fan of that than banning the star player. I think if you're on that spectrum, I'd rather if you really want to play that star, that's fine.
You get no skills. Like, even go that far and then you're like, all right. And I think a lot of tournaments, I say a lot, we've seen a couple kicking around where they've done that, where they've either banned all star players or made it so that, you can take a star player, but you kind of don't get the skills as well, because that can be tough. The star player tax balance seems a little peculiar as well, with Hackflem being just 2 primary, and
I feel sorry for Creek.
Creek is odd.
What are they seeing? Like, how many games have we run this year? It must be like 1,000 Blood Bowl games or something.
Yeah, and we've seen Ben play with Creek.
I didn't run in a tournament, but we've seen Creek once or twice, haven't we?
Saw Creek on the stream,
Yeah.
Creek and Borak, which was an awesome build, but it wasn't like Creek was amazing. No, it was like
It didn't make you think that's the build to take.
yeah, exactly. It was like that is clever and fun. I'm glad you've been able to do that and have a good time with it.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's difficult, but
it's not like Hack, Flem or Griff or Moor, which basically win the game for you.
Yeah.
Like you get them to do all the key plays all the time.
yeah,
Creek is
you're running Griff,
yeah,
and there's a team.
Yeah.
there
yeah,
with it.
exactly. You're supporting him. If Creek is just like, here's a big distraction that he's going to cause pain, or you can commit a lot to take him out one turn, which basically buys me a turn. Like that's
exactly.
often what Creek is for.
Yeah,
like
to
he's a
be
big
fair,
distraction.
Bomber is very similar in that regard.
Yeah.
It warps the game around him, and the opponent there has to spend activations either avoiding him, same with Creek, or trying to murder him.
Yeah.
Same-ish with Creek.
Same with
You can't
Slightly
do it
more
with-
successful.
Yeah. You've got to apply more and hope it goes better. So, I mean, I think every team's got a lot of interesting builds. And Trips, I think the other thing that you kind of flagged up that I do want to go into a little bit more is if we look at some of these skill sets, 7, 8 skills on a team. Our builds, generally speaking, probably top out at 7 for stunty teams. Otherwise, it's kind of 6 is where we 5 or 6. The more skills you get, the more complicated the game gets. So we keep ours at 1100 with a smaller skill package because it's a taster. Like, we want people to be able to run stuff without just being like, right, actually, this guy's got guard and this guy's got guard and this guy's got this skill and this guy's got this skill. Because you want to kind of go...
And we see a lot of newbies come to our tournaments, and you don't want them to go, I have no idea how to play the team I'm playing, or I don't know what my opponent's team do.
Which you can expect. I imagine we'll get a lot of... I don't think you'll see a lot of new players at the World Cup. You will see a lot of new players to the World Cup at the World Cup. That'll be me.
Yeah.
And while I was looking through it, I was like, woof, that's 9 skills there. That's going to be 8 skills on a Black Orc team. That's a lot of skills.
You could make it nice and
fine.
simple and just take the Milton approach to it.
Block,
Just
block,
go,
block, 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 block.
Can you
block,
give
block.
block to everyone? And in which case, then you'd have remembered what everyone's got. Does he have block? Yes. Does he have block? Yes.
I think if I end up playing, I will be building a team that clearly represents it for the World Cup, because you may as well. You're going to get a lot of games out of it.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, I would probably go the extra mile, put all my bases like sculpted, block, dodge, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay, well that's cool. 9 games in the World Cup. 3 days, 3 games apiece, or they might do 4 on 1 on whatever.
Paracetamol.
Yeah, it's going to be a big old. Well, it's a World Cup. Like, it's a massive thing. It's amazing. But running the same roster for 9 games is an interesting one, where historically they've had expanded rules. So day 1's this, day 2's this, day 3 is this.
And I love the fact that there is no trying to figure out where the roster needs to be in day 2 and 3. And clearly last time that didn't help the running of the tournament, the detail behind that. I think that makes it a more purer tournament, because you can't draw someone in the first round and go, I can beat them in round 1, but I can't beat them in round 8 because of the way the skill packages are going to go.
I don't mind that so much. I think that's pretty representative of a league.
I think of a league, but this isn't a league. This is a tournament, and this is a resurrection tournament where you play. Everyone has the same team at the start of the day, rather than if you have a evolving skill package, it almost feels like it's 3 tournaments that get added together.
It's really interesting. How do you feel about that one, Ben?
I don't really know. I don't really know how I feel. Like, I think it's fine. I think it's difficult to say. I think one of the reasons where I said at the start where I've never had a strong opinion about anything, which is true. But with this, I genuinely don't know if I can say or not, just because it's just so different. And like, ultimately, like we've had with all of our Blood Bowl tournaments, whatever we do, it's always fun. and it's still fine. And that's why I don't think this is to the point where it's overcomplicating anything. I think it's more complicated, but I don't think it's overcomplicated. I don't think it's massively imbalanced, and I think ultimately it's going to be fine. So it's hard to say whether it's going to be just like, I feel like this is a problem, I feel like this is confusing. Do you know what I'm getting at with that?
Yeah.
Like
Definitely.
it's just like I think it's going to be a lot of Blood Bowl, and it's going to be some elements of complication, but I think they've done a decent job of making it.
Yeah. I've never played a 9 games of Blood Bowl with the same team in a row.
Exactly.
Say that.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
like,
so don't know what that's going to feel like.
That's the only thing that makes me a little bit nervous. This rule set for a one-dayer, I think is really cool. Like really different, really interesting. It's going to be a lot of like core Blood Bowl, which I do think is awesome about this. And you kind of get like you're bringing your team as opposed to Griffin Co. And I think that's really good, and that's going to reward people who can play Blood Bowl really good. And I actually think that kind of skill package is going to reward people who play leagues, because you're going to be like, when you're at 8 skills, you're kind of 2 months into your league. Like this is going to reward people who play Chaos, because they know what skills they need to take and how to play it, which I think is great.
You don't want to be turning up to day 1 of the World Cup going, I haven't actually played with this team.
no, God, no, yeah. Like, you're going to be bringing something you're prepared to bring, I imagine, for everyone.
But 9 games with the same build is my only concern, and that was what I thought was really exciting about the last World Cup, was your team gets better. So you play the first 3 games, going to be a bit rough, don't quite have my skills yet. Game 2, got into the hum of it, I played my game, I've got more skills, and you kind of ramp up the complexity, but it also meant that day 1 had a lot less skills. So
that's what I mean. I feel like if they had done that, it would be overcomplicating. And I think this way makes it so much simpler. We saw in the last World Cup, it was a logistical nightmare. Like they really struggled with something like that. They did have ramping skills, I think, in the last one, didn't they?
They did, yeah. Which
but this just keeps it simple. This is like, here's it all up front. We're going to keep it overcomplicated just so people can enjoy playing Blood Bowl.
And what you just said there about, I'm going to take the team and I'm going to hobby them in a certain way, it's going to be clear who they are.
Yeah,
you couldn't do that if you're like, well, actually, have I got to repaint my base on evening 1 and evening 2 to add in the skills, or have I got really clear skill rings? And that's
again, I don't know. Like I've not really had too much experience of an escalation tournament like that.
Well, I mean, all of ours, not tournaments, but all of like the 7 Super Series and stuff kind of
Yeah,
works.
we're very much in control of that, and it's gradual. It's not like on the day, like. But it might work. That's why I didn't want to say just like.
But I see what you mean. Like you play your team one day, and then you go the next day, and then you've got bigger skill package from your opponent, and you have also added skills that, and you know what it's like. You get into a groove, and you're like, oh, that guy had tackle. A guy has tackle on day 2, or the worst is like he's got tackle, and then you're like, he's got tackle tomorrow. Which creates a pretty awkward place. So I totally but
it might be fine. A lot of people manage with that.
Yeah, for me, and this is probably just entirely me bias, is that the way I enjoy playing Blood Bowl is
killing Skaven.
No, everyone else loves that. Ben, what's that card game where you get like 2 decks and put them together and you like
Smash Up?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love Blood Bowl. Like, which team? Like, new team against somebody else, and I think I just love the newness of stuff. I'm not so much into the repetition of the same build. I like new.
It feels like a good way to torture you, actually, to go, right, you are going to play this team
with the
and
same
this build
skill
for
package
the next 9 months in
9
prep,
games.
and then you're going to play 9 games in 3 days.
Yeah, it would be fun. It would be fine, but I don't know. Just that one thing for me is like, oof, there's a lot of Blood Bowl that's the same, because you're going to like have, I don't know. But then again, playing Magic the Magic the Gathering is different. You go to a GP and you play like 10 games a day with the same deck, but those games are 45 minutes. But continuing to argue with myself about this, the idea of playing 9 sevens games with the same skill set also makes me want to kill myself.
Good thing these are twice as long as the 7s game.
Yeah, but you've got more skills, you've got more going on, you've got different teams, you've got more builds.
You're also going to get, like we said, people are going to... We've said this a lot, actually. I'm just reiterating, really. But people are going to be going in there with the team they've constructed, practiced, and get good. And you're going to see people at a World Cup, huge event, in their best form.
So,
And it's gonna be
So,
quite
what are your overall thoughts then, having read the roster and talked it through? Because you two will potentially be having to figure and build teams out for this at some point in the next 6 to 7 months to give yourself a few Fridays to paint.
No, I summarised a minute ago. I think it's going to be all right. I think logistically they've done a much better job at making it streamlined. I think people are going to be able to just sort of sit down and play, and I think that's worth a lot. Whether it be interesting, it's going to be interesting. It's the World Cup.
I think, adding to your point, Ben, we have to consider the language barrier.
Really good point.
Because you're saying you sit down and play Blood Bowl. Actually, my skills being my skills means I've got one less thing to focus on when I'm actually trying my hardest to make sure I'm clearly communicating what's going on. So
Yes.
I think I've not considered that. I'm looking at it from a tournament point of view. Would this be fun for me to run as a tournament? Yes, all right. Is this the right tournament? Is this the right rule set for a period of Blood Bowl where star players are complex and omnipresent in a multilingual environment? Well, actually, what do you need to do to compensate those two things? You need to tone down star players, which I think they've done well, and you need to keep the gameplay consistency so that you can actually enjoy yourself while communicating clearly. And actually, probably the reason I'm looking at this packet and I'm like, it's not, you know, I'm not excited about it, because they've made exactly the right things. They've made exactly the right concessions because it's the flipping World Cup. So actually, I've come round to thinking that this is exactly the right rule set. Some of the tiering, I'll give you, feels a bit wonky, but actually, player point of view, let's break this. Like Tomb King's way undervalued. Let's go. Let's go take that.
Considering it for the World Cup,
right?
Yeah.
I think this is probably the right skill pack for the World Cup.
You make a good point. Have they said in the pack if you have to have your team sheet in a certain language?
No, I haven't seen anything about that.
So it's not like you have to have one language.
No, I've been waiting because I've got an idea for a multilingual comm sheet for Blood Bowl. So A4 page, you've got a coin or whatever, and it's got blitz in all the different languages.
That's
so
a cool
you
idea.
can literally just take your coin or whatever and be like, gonna pass with this guy here, just to try and help like that language barrier before it goes. And also, hopefully, brewed up some Spanish lessons for the podcast. All I've got to do is learn Spanish first. So if you're out there and you speak English and Spanish, please message me, because that would make it much easier.
I've rolled a 1 and I've got Bonehead in.
Yeah, what's the
Could just watch like Narcos, learn Spanish that way.
Oh, great show. Yeah, I think part of me was like thinking, World Cup rule set's going to be released. We held off on the Beachhead rule set because we were like, this could be really exciting. And then we've talked about it lots of times, like, there's a standard format for Blood Bowl now. This isn't the standard format for Blood Bowl. This is the format for the World Cup, which is planning to be multiple thousands of Blood Bowl players playing Blood Bowl as straightforward as possible.
I hope it's good.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I like that. Cool. Anything we've missed off the World Cup rule set, guys? Oh, yes. So you're contemplating Tomb Kings.
Potentially, maybe something I'm more comfortable with.
What about you, Trips?
I'm contemplating watching from home.
I know.
But I think
for this skill set,
I think for this skill set, I'd actually be tempted to take an ability roster, because I think
7-1, 5-2,
the thing that
5 and a star.
they've got a lot of pre-built annoyance into them, an ability, and the things they can't do, you could skill package around, or the things they struggle with, you'd skill package
1150 is
around.
good for them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1150.
So I think that's 1150 gets you the 4 bodyguards and those.
You get the roster, don't you?
Yeah.
It's a roster plus ogre.
And that gives you, and they're a very flexible roster to play against 9 different rosters.
8 skills, including a secondary. That's block on the ogre, leader on one of your throwers, accurate on the other to make Ben feel better. Probably
Nice.
sure hands is probably the better skill.
Yeah.
And that's 5 left to be like guard, tackle, kick.
Can you take dodge on the blitzers? You
Yeah, you can.
Agility.
Yeah.
I can't remember actually
they're
what they are.
GA. There's no strength on those. So guard and a couple of your fat boys, and then either a couple of blodgers or I do like tackle on them.
And I think based on what else you're going to see,
Might not be much stunty though.
Yeah, but there's going to be dodge.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there is, actually.
there's going to be there's going to be a gutter runner or two with those skill packages. So that I
Thinking
think
like a Chaos Dwarf coach there, Ben. He's like, our league loves stunty. I'll take
it.
Chaos Dwarf.
yeah.
Oh, what team have you brought? SPP. Oh, good, I played that before. Are you building this just to destroy Ian Warhammer's ogre team?
Oh, he is running ogres again, isn't he? Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I love it. I think that's great. I'm going to bring dwarves. Leave your fun at the door. That nobility is a very interesting one. I hope we see some good Amazon teams.
I hope so too. They have not been hugely popular, have they? The Amazon teams in tournaments.
I think they're another good team. Teams that have got a number of good base skills built into them and only need one primary. This is an ideal.
Amazon's you only want primaries.
Yeah.
Well,
Secondaries
you
can't be
did
done.
only want primaries.
Even now though,
I'm just, I'm trying.
everyone can take block, and that's what you really want.
You're missing out on the blodge guard aspect that made them really good. However, strength 4, movement 6, blodging, and alright, so let's block on that guy. Is there a limit on the amount of skills that can be duplicated?
Don't think so. It was just
No.
stacking.
No, just stacking. So you can Milton it and just give everyone blodge.
Ooh, I do like Amazon then. Block. Probably block on the catchers. They're not catchers. They are catchers.
Yeah.
Yeah, the blitzers.
The blitzers.
Yeah.
Blitzers
that's
that are
your
catchers,
fault.
Yeah.
You're right. You are so right. You look at that roster and you're like, so my movement 7 pieces with no combat skills on my blitzers? You're going to say that this guy with no arms is my thrower? The beer ball thrower. Yeah, a 7 primary is pretty good for them. Maybe a secondary. Amazon's, I don't know, there's nothing spicy there. The problem is, I think, with Amazon's is at 1150 you don't need the last 150. Like, no.
It's just 5 rerolls.
Yeah, just lots of rerolls, and
Yeah.
it's going to be a consistent team. That's one of those sides that for over 9 games you're not going to go, I've rolled a 1 on 2 games.
What I found at South Coast was they just did everything.
Yeah.
They didn't really do anything wrong. And I think that's the kind of team you really want for the World Cup. You want a team that just does everything for you, that you can perfect, and you can just not mess up.
Yeah, if you can get a few 1 touchdown wins.
Yeah, exactly. That's all
You don't need to win 3-0. You need to win.
because they don't
7 or
have
8
that
games.
scoring, do they? It's just 2 points for a win.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
1-0s are going to be what you want, really.
Tomb Kings.
Yeah.
You're back on the TK.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm drawn towards the dodgy shenanigans. 1150 for Skaven's pretty great. And the fact that they're tier 2 gives them a ton of skills. I like that. I'm just trying to break the format already, like in my head. I'm like,
I think there's a Renegades roster in there somewhere that could be a lot of fun.
I do think that
'Cause I think-
4 primary and a hack flem build at 1150.
Well, we were talking about it
gotta be
earlier. You
alright.
could, for a Renegades build, you could. There's a lot of the good skills. You give the big guys the block, which you need to make them a bit more consistent. But it gives you the ability to give that some skills to the Dark Elf, some ability to some ball skills, which Renegades don't necessarily come with,
yeah.
and them still to be a nasty, big, smashy team as well.
Yeah, but then you look at, the tier 1 teams. The tier 1 teams feel like a historic tier 1 grouping.
Yeah. Tier 1 in the old edition.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of squads with 6 tier 1 teams.
Yeah, fair enough. Although I do think maybe not. I don't know.
Vampires, you can still do 4 pro chainy build, which ain't bad.
You can, you're right. You can't stack a lot of skills, which is what massively helped that vampire roster at Blood Bowl last year, where they went 9-0.
Yes.
Because they had like pro and block, pro and this skill, pro and this skill, which was key. We spoke to somebody at a tournament who played against it. That might have been Joe, actually. I think it was Joe Solo. It's an interesting one. I don't know. I like it. I think there's a lot to explore. And naturally, we'll be looking at some videos with World Cup builds because I like doing
Send them in
that.
as well. 'Cause that'd be good.
Yes,
Yeah.
even better.
Yeah.
Even better. Right, let's wrap up this seg and move on to the last one. Okay, so we're not doing 2022 in review just yet because we want to do the Bonies next week and get some votes
And
in.
there's one more preview to come out on Sunday, so we could... No, we won't get anything snuck into it.
I love
But
it.
last time we said nothing was coming out, we were wrong within 48 hours, so...
So nothing's coming out.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. Come on. No, love it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to talk about next year in Blood Bowl because it's Christmas. Everyone's about to have a couple of days off with no time at all to do anything because they're all busy spending time with family. First world problems. But it's about to be 2023 and there's a lot of cool stuff coming up in 2023 and it felt like a really good time to look ahead at next year and talk about some of the more exciting things and talk about some of the things that we want to see happen. So I'm going to kick off by saying we've got Beachhead Bowl coming up. And I love our tournament events and I think they've gone from strength to strength, especially numerically, I think. But I am really excited for Beachhead. Last year was rushed. I was personally in a bad place and you guys carried the event a treat and it was a massive, it was a really good fun thing. This year we're just going to focus on having a really good Blood Bowl event and hanging out with people and just having a really good time. Personally, I am excited about the rule set for Beachhead. But that would be the first thing I think I'm most looking forward to, and that's only like 9 weeks' time.
Oh my
And
God, really?
I think I'd build on that as well and go tournaments that we're running, and this is us being quite selfish about it. And on the organising side of it, they are really good fun now as the year's gone on. And massive thanks to Milton and his uber organisation skills when it comes to the prep and the rosters and the detail. The whole process of running a tournament has gone back to being a lot of fun and seeing people play a lot of Blood Bowl as opposed to us desperately clinging on with fingernails during the day going, I can't work out who's winning the damn tournament because score has screwed us over. So that whole atmosphere and we must say thank you to all of our players who come along and they make it such a fun day to see that many mad, stupid, amazing things happen in a day.
Yeah, I think we're going to be ultimately less tired, more energized in this Beachhead, which is going to be great. Potentially even, I don't know, do we have the logistics down so much that we can play during the tournament? That would be quite fun.
Maybe one day.
Yeah.
One day. I think...
We've still got to whisper quietly in everyone's ear.
Yeah.
Only 10 minutes left.
Trips, you've got that absolutely down to a
We feel like we
T.
automate something new every time.
Yeah.
So, it's getting there.
Oh god,
Yeah.
yeah. I think the whole thing and Trips, everything you said, like a massive shout out to Milton running the rosters. He loves it and he executes brilliantly. But both of you guys for playing or being TO extraordinaires on the day, I think it's been really cool. Like I know you're the biggest one of this. Trips is like, well, think about where we were a couple of years ago, and I'm like, no, we're not good enough. But actually, we are more than good enough.
Running an 80-person tournament isn't scary anymore.
Yeah, that's a big thing. It's not a daunting task. It's just like, oh,
I think that you just said, like, just having fun and like enjoying it.
Yeah.
I think that's why I'm looking forward to Beachhead. It's because it's no longer in my head as like this chore, this right thing we've got to execute, we've got to do this. Yeah. It's sweet. We get to hang out with like 100 Blood Bowlers over 2 days and maybe go out for dinner and play some games and have a couple of drinks and just hang out. And I'm like, that's actually what life is about. And I think
last time we just shattered.
It was just a wreck, and we had the haunted hotel rooms, and it was really weird. Need to book a hotel actually for Beachhead. I think that's something I'm super looking forward to. Haven't actually nailed down the rest of the dates with Pete yet in the calendar for next year. There's a lot of stuff going on, but we will definitely be hosting Dorset Dungeon Bowl, around about that May time. Our friend Stevie126, Stevie, is going to be running a tournament in Toyman, a sevens one.
Oh, brilliant.
In April time. I'm not sure if, I think he's got it booked in for the 15th or something.
Oh, we shall all have to go. Such a long way to travel.
I know. He said he's going to drop me a message when he's got more details, but he was like,
I'd love to go along to that. That'd be great.
He was like, Ben, you have to play. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. Because I said to him, I was like, oh, you know, do you want me to stream it? Like, do you want me to do anything? He was like, no, I want you to just play. I want you to come along and just play Blood Bowl with people. I'm like, oh, all right then.
That's a big thing for Blood Bowl 2023. Playing more.
Playing more.
Yeah.
And we've got Warhammer World, not trips again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A cheeky trip to Warhammer World in
March.
Going up for the Sevens tournament.
Well excited. On a Thursday.
I'm so stressed about not having any team that I can like legit run at a Games Workshop.
Yeah.
But I mean, Snotlings.
I mean, if only if there was like a shop that you could go to that sold these teams.
Oh, I don't. There's Amazon's would be great. Amazon team is just fine.
Yeah. I'm going to do Necromantic.
Necro.
I've fully decided I'm going to do it. The team's nice. Got the team already.
Team is really
good fun
really
sevens
nice.
team.
Yeah. Exactly.
Can lose any one of their players and still not be completely screwed over by losing that one player.
Oh, I don't even have a Games Workshop Ratto this, so I can't even take this game.
You don't need a Ratto grid game in sevens.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
They're fun.
What from playing 7 Super Series, the Roger in the Underworld
Yeah, they
team
are
has just been awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
The prospect of building a Renegades team out of Games Workshop models is
Yeah. That's not bad.
why? There's so many good third party stuff. But no, so yeah, we got some good tournaments just in the next few months. We've got Beachhead Bowl up to Nottingham, potentially playing sevens here with Stevie. Then in May, hoping to do Dorset Dungeon Bowl 2.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Dungeon Bowl again.
Yes.
So I think that in almost having that intense period where we played Dungeon Bowl for the tournament and the detail last year was really fun. It was clearly the first time a load of people had played it. But I haven't played Dungeon Bowl since, and almost deliberately to go, actually, Dorset Dungeon Bowl, that's the period in the year where we all go, oh, what on earth has gone on with these teams? And the teams have changed so much since this time last year because...
Well, they changed during us filming the last series, didn't they? They were like, oh, well, the Beasts roster now's got a whole other team attached to it.
Yeah.
Now flipping Heavens is
Heavens is
got a whole
literally...
team. Yeah.
There's not a single Blood Bowl player that can't make a Heavens team out of something they've got.
Do you have Amazons? Yes. Welcome to Dungeon Bowl.
Yeah. So and it's such a different way of playing, and the atmosphere was amazing last year as people were like, well, just can I do this, and can I bounce the ball off the ceiling round the corner and dodge into the gap to go do it? No.
My favourite one was, can I leap around the corner?
Yeah.
And we got TO'd over and we're like, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
I just assume he jumps, grabs the ceiling and swings around because that's actually a legitimate leap thing, and then slammed. I'm really excited for that, and especially because I think we'll have a couple of our 3D printed pictures at that point as well. So like tournament table 1 can have that.
Ooh.
Don't know what we're going to do about with streaming games. Like part of me thought it was awesome, but also the work was immense to set it all up and to balance it, and it really took an extra person out of the TO team.
Yeah, I think it was good that we've done it and we tried it. I think for now, for the next couple of tournaments, probably not. Just play more, be around more. I think it's good. I think we can probably have the streaming for the home games when we can actually set things up and control it. And
And I think for me that's something I'm looking forward to next year, is when those new teams come out, we have that intense period where we genuinely play test them and have the community go.
They're really fun.
You could do
the
this.
Blizzard's Amazon game that we did it's like one of my favourite things we've done.
I think it might be my favourite thing we've done.
It was such good fun.
I
know.
My whole year of Blood Bowl I can sum up in 3 minutes. On the ball.
So try it.
I did bring it up in the Scrapper Sorehead Star Player video. I was like, this guy has now taken that up to the next level. But no, I think so. It was great doing the streaming of the events. I loved it, and it was so cool to be able to do it. Just doing it while running a tournament is massively logistical, and I didn't get a chance to talk to people.
Yeah.
I tried harder at the last event. It was Bonehead Bowl, wasn't it? Our last tournament was here.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was great fun to chat to everybody, and that I think is a really actually that's what this is about. And I think you guys have done a great job in just repeatedly slapping me mentally to realise that actually Blood Bowl is about playing and chatting and having fun with people than it is about.
But I think we can do the streaming as well, because I think it's been really popular, and the communities, we do it for the community, but we're going to have to do it in a slightly different way so that you don't have to chat to the community.
I think Dungeon
for 6
Bowl.
hours solid.
I think we might do it for the Dungeon Bowl event. I think it's unique and interesting enough, but also the rounds tended to finish a lot quicker.
We had people playing sevens during the day,
which was awesome. Like a whole bank of sevens tables being played in between rounds was really good. But definitely those big events, it's much more fun. It's much more fun to just be around, seeing and listening to the stories and playing. It's just, absolutely wicked. So, Ben, you summed it up nicely. 2023, so much more Blood Bowl to be played.
Yes.
And that's before we even think about the World Cup and everything like that. But no, for me, number one thing I'm most excited about in 2023 is playing more tournaments, playing more Blood Bowl.
And I take my bit that I'm looking forward to next year with playing more Blood Bowl is Blood Bowl 23 coming out, the video game.
Yeah.
Because I'm really looking forward to trying to play some different rosters and farm the games in and play them in a skilled up style that you go, well, this is match 8 of a league, and you're like, yes, but I'm not going to play in 17 leagues this year to get to that point. I'm really looking forward to seeing that. I'm desperately. The game doesn't need to be great; it just needs to not be bad.
Yeah.
It just needs to run.
If it runs and the rules work and they're mostly up to date, then I'm looking forward to playing an all Dark Elf lineman game, seeing what I can do with them and skilled up, and going, was that fun or not? Well, I didn't have to paint and do it.
And it didn't take up like 7 club nights of your life.
Yes.
To meme your way through. Yeah.
That's massively like bang on.
When was the release date for that? February, right?
23rd. But with the Brutal Edition, it's available 48 hours earlier.
Okay.
So once we've done with Beachhead, can you imagine what's going to be on the channel for a while?
Yeah.
It is going to be farming games, because I mean, I love playing Blood Bowl, but 3 games in one day is probably all you can do. You can fit 4 in, but it's going to be an all-day kind of job. Well, I filmed 6 or 7 of those Renegade games on Saturday when the beta came out, and I'm like, this is a great way to see how the team develops, which is, I think, exactly what you're saying. You've got funny rosters, you've got team development, and I think that's going to be a great way to farm Blood Bowl 3 in a way that you can only really do on Fumble at the moment. And I love Fumble, and I love that they've changed the vertical screen, and there's definitely a place for it. But I'm just looking forward to this.
Yeah.
Going to be a lot of fun.
Be a good year.
23 is looking pretty good. What else do we have on the show notes? What are we looking excited
I'm
about?
looking forward to painting.
Yeah.
More. Well, I'll have this this whole thing out of my hands. So a goal for me is to be able to. Something I want to set is just be like, paint a team. Practice painting a team super quickly and efficiently. So 1, to burn through the backlog. 2, just be able to prep for tournaments and stuff easily. Ideally, the 5 hours per team is a goal, and I want to be able to consistently hit that.
Yeah. And then that gives you the ability to go, I can play that tournament, and I can not go, which team have I got on the shelf that I can pick and play? I can go, I want to play that team that are sitting in the box over there that need painting. They're going to get painted this week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Practice and learning to cut corners in painting. That's a personal painting goal. I don't know, what about you?
I have on my list as keep painting new teams, so I've really enjoyed focusing for tournaments or leagues on getting a team that were in the box or were in the painting or the printing backlog and get them done and out. So I've done High Elves this year. I painted a couple of other teams up for stream or for tournament, and it just was really good to go. It's gone from being an idea to something I've genuinely played with, and you're like, that's felt like that trifecta of hobby for me, of going, I've enjoyed it, I've painted it, I've played with them, and actually most of them I've played with them again, and I'm glad I've actually had the opportunity to do it. So,
yeah, that's good.
And definitely. I think that we're in a slightly different level of painting. Let's go with. So I've seen my painting improve as the year goes on, as I've watched and stolen tips and tricks. So it's good to feel that I can paint a bit more, and painting trim doesn't scare me anymore now.
Painting trim is always scary.
Yeah.
And this is the first thing you do.
Yeah, painting trim. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Yeah, man, if you want corner cutting tips for painting, I'm your man. Oh no, we need a team for Saturday. My highlight was painting up like 4 or 5 sevens teams like in 2 evenings, because I was like, everyone was like, oh no, actually free Saturday to film. I was like, I'm gonna need some sevens teams. Now this time's been better because you guys have done the work, but like last time was quite entertaining. But no, hobby goals. I'm behind on hobby. I think I'm probably going to spend the rest of my life feeling like I'm behind on hobby. But I think you need to refocus and pick out things and be like, well, does that really matter? Like, because even though I got told off by Andy at the till downstairs for picking up another game.
Yeah, and technically it's not a game; it's just a rule
It's just a
book.
book. It's just I've got a box of their high elf ships just sitting there, and they're probably going to stay sitting there.
They're going to balance something beautifully flat later on.
They are, in fact, in the pile.
Yeah.
But pitches and boards are something I'm really excited for this year. So this is a weird one, but like the Goober Town Hobbies video of him with this cinema studio.
The video, yeah.
The Uber robot.
Mate, the robot arm with the camera. And
If you haven't seen it, go and check it out.
Yeah.
Just like the first video he's done. It's yeah.
And if anyone has one that they want to lend to Ben, he would.
They're not have to spare what was it, like £3.5 million camera?
Yeah.
I think it was only 250,000.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah,
all right. That's in budget.
Yeah, $250,000.
Yeah.
I'd love to see the Kickstarter they could do that. We're going to need Seamon in on this one. But it just kind of made me think about how far, where we are now with like what we've got access to with the cameras and everything like that, which is just a massive thank you to everyone who supports the channel, because hopefully you can see this is what we do with it. Like we put it back in to try and make better content, and sadly, because of how I operate, sometimes doesn't work out. So, got those lapel mics, and Ben was like, Ben, for the love of God, just buy real stuff. Like, stop buying £75 things on Amazon and then getting angry when it doesn't work. Like, buy 3 of those, or buy one £300 one that works. It's the same money, Ben. I was like, all right, I'll wait. And I did. And now we got these. And they're what we got access to camera-wise. And, I'm a big fan of the lapel mics, though.
Yeah, these are consistent.
Yeah. I love them.
We say that. Hopefully the audio's okay.
Yeah. Audio's good.
So we check at the end. It's just like, oh, okay. Maybe.
If not, blame Amazon. That's the problem.
That's it.
Not us.
Click that video. There we go. But it's just like actually watching that thing that they had, where you've got all the levels of like fanciness and stuff.
Oh, and the probe zooming in and stuff. You're just like,
it was just, I've got it on the background of the video at the moment. It's just like, we could do that for Blood Bowl. We've made steps, like with the quality. I mean, I know stuff is bumpy, juddery, with dice are out of focus, and sometimes the audio is bad, although I don't think we've had an audio issue all of 7 Super Series.
Don't say that while we're recording, Ben. Like, you're going through so much, mate.
we apologise every time we slap the table.
Cables. Cables.
Yeah. Did we talk about that Dungeon Bowl one that we spent the day recording that is just lost in the void now? Or do we not think about that?
Honestly, it burns a hole in my soul, and it's on here. Like, and I will never delete it.
Yeah.
I will never delete it.
What a hell of a game that was.
Oh.
That was brutal. But if you think about like what we were doing last year, the handheld wonky cam and stuff, and then we got the multi-cams, and now we've progressed to like actual cameras where you can see things. I'm like, wow, Blood Bowl's really cool. We're mad hobbyists. What more can we do? And actually, that 3D dungeon, the multi-cams, was great fun.
Yes.
And actually, having the stadium in the background of stuff is really cool. And that's kind of a thing I'm really looking forward to about this year, is just spending some time seeing if we can make really good quality videos.
I would love that.
I thought you'd be on board with that.
Yeah, that would be really fun.
And I think part of that is pace and we tend to run a bit close to deadlines when it comes to filming videos because life gets in the way. Like 7 Super Series was wicked. We got like 7 weeks worth in the bank, and then I went on holiday, and then we had a tournament, and then we had another tournament, and then I went on holiday again, and now we're at the point where it's like the game goes out today for Patreons, and Trips and I filmed it on Tuesday this week, and I'm filming with Ian on Monday for next weekend's game, and it's like
loads of time.
Yeah, it's 7s.
Yeah.
But actually, something that, doing something that looks really good.
Yeah. It's that next level up, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I've said it before, and I'll no doubt say it again this time next year. If we look back to this time last year and the year before, the quality and the details going up every time, and that we've ironed out a whole heap of tech issues, and we've got a portable setup. Look, we're doing a podcast in person, which may be something that used to happen 3 years ago, and there's a minor pandemic in the middle
there were
of
any
those.
cameras at that point. I think it was just
There were.
It was just lapel mics.
Yeah. And your iPhone, which you waved under to get the... you did film, but only to label the cuts, I think.
Oh, that was because the audio was better
Yes.
by using the iPhone, and my laptop kept melting and adding clicks. Jeez.
Yeah.
That was like 3 years ago, like you said, before the pandemic. But yeah, no, definitely. And this is it. Is actually we're at a point, I think, where we can make better content, and that's all I think any of us really want to do is just have fun and make stuff that people are going to watch and be like, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's literally the bar for me. Is if someone could watch that and be like, the game looks fun, or Ben, why are you doing that? Like, or you've missed the rule, which I think, Dungeon Bowl was audio quality. 7 Super Series has been rules mistakes. I think that's kind of the narrative for those seasons.
Yeah,
But at least the picture's been better.
Yeah, the definite theme of the of us all playing is trying to remember which team we're playing with in the rules, and then not pushing a player to the wrong place.
Yeah.
And speaking of new games, or filming games, new games. I like still Blood Bowl at its core, but we have talked a long time about trying to film something that might be a little bit different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Be it another miniatures game,
Yeah.
could be board game, could be a card game, could be something like in down that line. It could just be something just to try, because I think that's. I'm a big fan of that. It's just trying stuff.
This is why I was so excited when Trips was like, did you want to do a end of year in person? Because I'm like, oh, this is different.
It's trying something new, and then you learn what works, what doesn't work, what you can get better at, and I think that's really important for growth.
And I think that goes for everybody, whether it's your new thing is joining a league, or buying a new team, or trying a new technique, or going to a new tournament, or whatever. Is that actually it's great to try something different. And when it comes to games, Blood Bowl is, in my opinion, the absolute best game. And if you want to stay in Blood Bowl, try mixed teams, try 7s, try
Secret teams.
Street Bowl, secret teams. Like you can stay inside the box. There's lots of different boxes in that box, or you can pick up Kill Team, which I am dying to play. But just time and what the world is like. But I love filming the videos because they're actually really good fun. And I think the thing I liked so much about that game you two played is we were just hanging out.
It was just hanging out,
We were
playing the game.
fun, and it was content as well. But more importantly, we were having a great laugh.
It was
playing a game.
Fun.
Yeah,
it was such a good time, and that is absolutely, I think, the theme of this, isn't it? Is just enjoy what you're doing.
But we could do that for Kill Team. Like we all have and it's a shared effort. I mean, we can sort out your team and your board.
Yeah, I was going to say
you sort out the cameras and rig, and I think it would just be a breeze. It'd be so much fun. As long as it's not stressful.
And we can guarantee as well, we will get some rules wrong as well, just to keep it in line with everything
I'm
else
always
we've
going to be
done.
muddling up with pentagons and hexagons.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I forget about the shapes.
Yeah.
Warcry it is. No, the terrain looks too good for Kill Team. It's just so good. But no, I mean, playing games is the best thing. And the cool thing is about how much variety there is in Blood Bowl, which brings me on to another thing I'm really looking forward to, is gluing together, painting up the Death Bowl 7s pitch. Because we were going to have December Death Bowl, and then again the world just got super busy. We're going to drag Milton across and play a game somewhere, but actually building pitches, like building a big old Death Bowl Sevens pitch and then having a game of that, which would be just a laugh.
That would be obscene. I think that one's going to have to involve a beer.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see if Pete's got this place licensed.
If only someone could build a gaming room at their house with a LED table or something like that.
Well, I was going to touch on that on personal goals. That's a personal goal for mine.
Transition. Let's go.
Yeah. So I've got a board gaming table done already, and I'm hoping to make the sort of room a nice little board gaming space, which would be really nice. I did have obscene ideas of making it like this. I think that's too much for my fiance if we want to go ahead with the wedding.
Yes.
I probably need to tone it down, but I've got that as a nice personal goal of just making a really cozy little space to play board games in, play Blood Bowl in, maybe record a podcast or two in there. So
Definitely.
That's definitely big on for me. Make that space. You know?
I think, as they would say in Field of Dreams, if you build it, we will come.
You filming people playing the game.
Yeah.
Oh, I just thought we'd have a look at the RPG room.
Yeah, it's a great space.
Oh, I love this. This is the dream. Yes, I don't know if it worked. It does work. It worked when Milton and I did the Wood Elf unboxing, which must have been like 2019 before he fled the country. I'm gonna go with fled the country.
Tax reasons or something like that.
Yeah. Abandoned us to some weird little island.
Yeah, JC for him is Jimmy Carr. So
Yeah.
off he went. Merry Christmas. But no, that's all very, very, very cool. Personal goal wise, I've got an interesting year coming up, I think, with Tiff and I buying a house, and Trips and I were talking about this just like as we came in, we are desperate to get our forever home, or just be in a position. Went through several different positions at my work last year, and I'm now finally in a place where I really like what I'm doing. And
I'm gonna miss interview Monday.
Yeah, right. There was a significant period of time where it was like, I applied for another job and I forget it.
Yeah.
Don't give people secondments. It's a terrible idea. And now Tiff and I are hoping to buy in the middle of this year, and then like I said, Trips, it was just a case of I'm interested to find out what my next part of my life is going to look like, whether it is focusing on doing some more stuff with the channel, or focusing on building a printer farm, focusing on having a kid. I imagine it's me, so I'll probably take two of those and do them at the same time and make it stressful as hell.
I was going to say
Print a kid?
all of the above. It's going to be print a kid, build a house, drown in resin, and film a video while doing it.
How much would it be to print a brick?
They do 3D print houses these days.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
It is so cool. But no, for me, it's going to be a case of, right, well, let's find out what the next few years. I'm going to talk to my dad. What's your 5-year plan? I don't know. I'll tell you in June. But I don't intend to do anything different with the podcast other than keeping doing what we're doing and learning better ways to do it, which I think is kind of where we've got to, and it's been amazing. And you guys have been outrageously helpful. It's been so good. It's been so much fun. And if this year we can kind of consolidate a bit, instead of and just focus on taking it easy, I guess, is kind of not pushing. So I think SCA was amazing. Streaming was amazing, but
I think it's having a manageable set of things that we want to do. We've seen when we try and do just a little bit too much, it's really intense for a period, and then we all have our own lives that we have to return to for a period of time. So it's the a bit every week that fits really well. It's when it's several weeks in a row that we've forgotten to do anything at home, all of us, and get politely reminded that we have responsibilities and other things to do.
There are reminders. Oh, they've got candles hanging from the ceiling.
I was working out what they were.
I didn't realise that. We've been here all day. And
they're not on. Do they turn on?
I don't know. Look at that. They've got little candles on the ceiling. And just the fact that we've got a little camera set that we can pan around.
Yeah.
It makes me very, very, very happy. Wouldn't it be really cool if that worked? I'm sure there must be a way.
They're not powered. So they must be battery powered.
Yeah.
Oh god, are they all
I
twist
like
ons?
the
I
fact
think
that
it might
on the
be.
wall over here is the last person who didn't send in a roster in the Google Sheet format and had a discussion with Milton about it.
Yeah, that's what happens.
There you go. That's
So
what happens when you don't get your roster on time.
This is what happens to you if you wind Milton up. He will take it into the corner and have a long time discussion with you.
I love it. There we go. Let's switch that back to face cam. Any other personal goals for this year, I guess, or things we were looking forward to personally?
Not sure.
I've got some.
Not sure. Just doing more. Being more organised, I think. I think this year it's been quite hectic for some reason. 2022 has been pretty hectic in general, hasn't it? But
I think that's something to do with. I think that's pandemic hangover.
yeah.
I really
rushed through to do everything you missed out on.
Well, we didn't from a tournament point of view. We didn't. Our first tournament after the apocalypse was what was it Mega Bowl? That was during the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Just right at the end of.
Yeah. So
on the edge of being.
and then Bonehead Bowl or Bonvember or something at the end of last year was like the first time. So I still think we spent the first 6 months of this year not feeling right,
and everything was the first time of doing things for a while, and
Sum it up, just not feeling right. I'm hoping 2023 feel right, feel organised. You know, I think you mentioned this in our little just pre-show chat. Just like proper tidy up my space. I think I'm looking forward to doing that. Just everything around me, just sort of tidy up, clean slate, and just feel like okay, I'm in control now. I think I'm going to start off by getting a wireless keyboard and mouse because I need to tidy that on my desk.
Oh, those cables have got to go. Yeah.
My desk is an absolute mess.
Do you know I have a wireless keyboard and mouse, and they are on the floor, and I've got my wired keyboard and mouse right there, and it makes me laugh every time I sit down because I'm like, and do you know why? It's because the dongle is up there on a shelf. And I walk past the shelf, sit down, and then I look at the shelf and I'm like, not today.
As a personal goal for you for 2023 is tackle the shelf.
And it makes a big difference. I had a new hobby office space for this year when realizing that working from home was was going to be the way I was going to be working and detailed. So I really much wanted a space for work and a space for hobby, so I could switch between the two without an hour's switch over. And that's enabled me to do more this year and to dip in and out of different game sets and like paint a kill team and paint a Necromunda gang and paint a Blood Bowl team and actually get that done, as opposed to sort of get to the autumn and go, I haven't really achieved much hobby wise this year. So that feels good, and it's stuff that I've wanted to do because I wanted to play with it as well. So that's been really nice this year. So I think definitely for me next year, being able to play more stuff at club. I know during the league I missed a few weeks, and I got to the end and I was like, if only I'd played 2-3 more games, I might have squeaked the Norse into
that
the playoffs.
Norse team was you were making a run for it at the end. You were like the Detroit Lions of Wobble.
Definite missed a couple of weeks. So I think that's something I'm going to take forward to next year, is as the league starts to not go, it's like 12 weeks, it'll be easy to squeeze in the games when you go, hang on a second, life will take 3 or 4 of those out, so get a game in while you can.
You going to do league this year?
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah, because we came close last time, didn't we? So we both nearly got to the final, didn't we? Well, I know I got to the final, didn't I? But it was nearly the Bonehead off.
Yeah,
so.
both into the semis.
It's quite fun to think about the FAQ rule changes now, and how much that would have changed a couple of things going into the finals. It's really interesting. And I'm bringing back the Black Orcs. I've really been enjoying playing in the Entoyment League, but I don't know if I'll be able to make it for the next one. I can't. Doing Wobble and the Entoyment League at the same time was a bit much. Even though Entoyment's only every 3 weeks, every other week is podcast, and then the third week I kind of thought, I was like, Tiff has had a bit of a chat, and she's like, maybe this is too much, because when I told her this week, I was like, doing this day, and then on Thursday I'm over to Entoyment. She's like, that's busy.
I think I had 2 weeks in a row. It was like wobble, something to do with the pod, in tournament, and then the same the next week, and it was sort of the whole, are you in at any point this week? You're like, yeah. So I think I may have pushed the hobby a little bit too much.
It's nice that we're in a place where we can push it a little bit and then learn from it and move back. And I really do feel like that's what 2023 is going to be, is kind of taking not the mistakes, but the growing pains or the kind of friction from last year.
That version 2 of it, and going, that was really good, that was good, but I need to do 2 of the 3, not 3 of the 3.
Yeah, let's lube it up. Okay,
Yeah.
well, we've got
I'm
to
not sure that's what I said, but just for formal record keeping purposes.
Summary, 2023, lube it up. Yeah, lube it up. Lubed up from last year.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's been a long year. Like, I do think coming out of pandemic, even though, you know, it was kind of midway through 2021, right? It wasn't really. And the tournaments, I remember doing the ones here in October, and everyone was like, oh, should you be doing that? And, you know, it was kind of like, I even at my wedding, which was a year and a bit ago, it was very much a case of still got to be cautious of COVID, make sure people are spaced, vaccinated, comfortable. And it was kind of like, that was just a year ago. So go to that, then to Christmas, then into kind of tournaments and stuff. Only now do I feel like we're kind of like, actually, we can enjoy this now. We're all good. Like, let's be safe and just be happy. And I think that's awesome. So 2023, where we've got a bunch of great tournaments, we're going to play in other tournaments as well, and the World Cup too. I just think it's awesome to go out and play games. I've signed up for Andy Davo's Nottingham tournament as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's doing World Cup test up, I think 2 days or something like that. I signed up because I was like, oh, I'm interested, and I haven't asked permission yet, but hopefully it's working that weekend and it'll be fine. I was like, that could be,
if you're watching,
quite cool.
Next thing that Ben needs to think of a trade-off right now for it.
She only joins for the live stream, so we're all right for today. But that's cool. So yeah, I think that's good. So I guess, guys, on to predictions. And I'm going to jump in with what Milton sent to us. So Milton couldn't be with us today because he lives in a different country. And, well, we do well at getting time with Milton, all things considered. Yeah. So I bounced in there and I was like, let us know your predictions, etc., etc. So he said, Dungeon Bowl 3 seems likely same time next year with whatever hasn't been in. So probably Metal and Heavens or something. As far as team releases go, I think we're going to see High Elves, Chaos Dwarves, and one new Slan replacement team. Hopefully the cool Slanesh idea. With the 2 Chaos teams is going to come a lot more.
It's a cool idea.
Chaos Star players is a very cool. And Favored Odd rules are going to get fleshed out. Blood Bowl 3 is going to get launched, but it's going to be like Marmite throughout the community due to microtransactions, bugs, and lack of cross-platform. Personally, feel that Star player releases are more important than team releases, especially when it comes to tournament meta. So more engaged in that as enjoy tournaments more. Personally want to develop my understanding of the passing game, so going to play my Wood Elves as much as I can. Bring Scrapper, everybody. Yeah. With the exception of Sevens, at where I'll be going full Bonehead. Podcastly, I think it'd be cool to do some more secret team stuff. Absolutely. Milton's covered a whole bunch of cool stuff in that one.
Yeah, big on the secret team thing. We need to bring that back. Yeah. It's been a long time. We haven't done it with the new edition yet. No. So, big on that.
I'm not smitten on the secret team adjustments that they've made.
No, there are some really questionable ones. We can change that up. It's secret team. Do what you want.
That's the great thing. You know, they become unofficial. And I think we're at a point now where Blood Bowl's kind of like together and we can start exploring outside of the box. Which I think we did with Bonehead Bowl by bringing that back. That was carnage. Like that. So, predictions, Trips, let's start with you. Blood Bowl predictions.
So I think we're going to see a Vampires team next year. And I'm really excited for a Vampires team. They're in the category for me of I want to play them, but I want to play the new version of them.
Yeah.
And play them through. Similar to Milton, I think we're going to get High Elves tweak as well. And I think that'll be a lot of fun. I'd really like to see a lot of people playing a passing team as well. Having played High Elves recently in the Entoyment League, they're a lot of fun. And
I bet they're going to make one positional strength 4, aren't they?
Yeah.
They can't.
They're going to. You just know they will. They're going to make some like Lothan Seaguard guy.
It'll be the White Lions of Crace.
Will it?
They'll be the first. Yeah. Oh no.
And if they do that though, they're going to be awesome because you're just going to be like, I'm going to ping the ball all over the place, and that guy's going to make the hole. So
they'll just end up with Ulf runners basically.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
It's 2 favourite teams combined.
Take that. So Yeah, I think that's the way to go. I don't think we're going to see lots of new teams. I think this year has given us a heads up to the cadence going down. But as Milton said, the star players trickling through and more star players with lots of tools. Perfectly happy with that. More Blood Bowl is more better is a good phrase, but I think more playing is more better. We don't necessarily need a whole heap of new things all the time.
I agree with that, and I think actually the slowing down of the releases is giving people more time to actually play with the teams, and I think we need that after the last couple of years of just like, here's a release, sit and think about it. To be able to be like, in the next league at Wobble, I'm definitely going to run Amazons. Like, I need to find a team I like the look of, but I'm going to run Amazons because they're cool, they're new, they're interesting, they're a different team. It'd be great to do that. I just hope I can get that done before Games Workshop actually releases the next new thing that I'm excited about and shiny about.
Definitely take the Chaos Force.
Yeah. Damn. Hey, I got strength 4 player. Eat it. Full centaurs.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Okay, BT, what about you, man?
I am just going to stand and die on my Slash Hill. That happens.
It's going to be right. Sooner or later, it's going to be right.
Yeah, broken clock's right twice a day, right?
Probably later.
I am hoping for it. I do want the whole Chaos package to be fleshed out. I think Chaos and a Slash and Zeech team are likely to happen, and I would really like that to happen. They've just got so much flavour and theme, and I think Slash will replace Slan. As in, like, archetypically at least.
Yeah.
I think Zeech is a really good space to try something very different and new.
Stunty Chaos.
I think Stunty Chaos would be really cool.
Get some horrors on there.
Maybe a Stunty, finally a Stunty tier 2 team?
You mean Snotlings?
Yeah, true, yeah. No, but yeah, I think it would be really interesting. I couldn't tell you what they're going to do, which is great, because that's very Zeech.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of space that they could go with that. I like all of that. And for me, I think, I don't know, I'm not sad about this, but I wouldn't be surprised if, very akin to what Tripp said, we barely get 2 teams this year. Like, if you think about last year, like we had Norse and Amazon, nothing, like there was changes within those teams, but nothing spicy really happened. That's not true. I like what they did to both of them.
I think both of them had a tweak that made both of them interesting to play. We've seen a lot of Norse as the second half of the year goes on, and the Amazon roster with the strength 4, it was a definite change.
Big difference.
So yeah, I mean, I think they might stick a bit truer, and I want the Squig team more than anybody. And new teams are really exciting, but actually, it's probably about time that we got Vamps, High Elves, Chaos Dwarves, and Tomb Kings brought up to date.
Do you think we're going to get 2 remasters of Teams of Legend rather than one new, one old?
I do, which makes me a little sad because Snotlings is just one of the best things to happen to Blood Bowl. Like, forever. Like, it's just outrageously fun, and it's good, but not broken. Like, it's been perfect. And a Squig team, or something like a Squig team, or a Stunty team, or something, would just be so cool to explore the design space. But honestly, if this is Blood Bowl now, I'm cool with that for years. Like, we've got enough to play with.
We do.
For years.
Oh yeah, we've probably got 2-3 years worth of silly ideas to still work through.
Exactly. There's plenty to do. So actually, I would love 2 more teams this year. I'd love 4, obviously, but actually, let's bring up them. And of all the 4 remaining teams, I genuinely don't care which one they bring back. Because they're all interesting. I was of the 6 teams of Legend going into this year, Norse and Amazon were the ones I was least interested in them bringing back, and they've both been really interesting releases. I'm like, well, if you can do that with like Amazons, which was literally the white bread of teams, then imagine what you can do with Tomb Kings or Vampires, who quite frankly can't get worse.
Yes,
like, you can't break that. You can only add something that's going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
And it could be a big guy, it could be a stunty, it could be anything. I don't care. It's going to be interesting. Like the beer ball. If any team needs a beer ball, it's Vampires / Tomb Kings that, if they do nothing with them, they're still really interesting.
They're still great teams.
Chaos Dwarves are wicked, obviously. which is why BT are looking to run them in a league. And High Elves trips have been really interesting to play. So any of those teams bringing them back without doing too much change would be really cool. And then adding a brand new team would be fine because those teams are fine as they are right now. So we're in a golden point. Probably, I think Milton's right, another Dungeon Bowl mini set, which is cool.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see a new edition of the game this year.
No.
And this has been really interesting because you see this online, like, 2023, it's been 4 years or whatever. Games Workshop are up to release it. I don't think so. I think Blood Bowl 3 is a really strong indicator that we're not getting a different game.
Yeah, true. That's a good point.
For a fair few years now.
They shaped up the rules now.
Especially with them going, there's going to be a 3-month season cycle and a new team at the end of that. That says there's years of content on that video game to come, and we know the video games have crossed rule sets, but
they haven't crossed rule set. It was just that Blood Bowl 2 had been out for a decade.
It doesn't need it. It's not like 40k where there's constantly releases and there's a lot of bloat.
Yeah.
And there's always codexes catching up with others, and because the way they release them, they creep them.
God, yeah.
You've got the constant power creep, but Blood Bowl just doesn't have power creep. Not in the same way at all.
So
it's an
far.
inherently imbalanced game though. So like it's designed around that.
There's no auto win. Hackflem is probably the closest we've got.
Yeah.
And the meta, the community is reacting to that. You didn't even want to take Hackflem because of that. Because it's like, it's just a bit, kitsch. Or whatever the word is you TikTokers would use. I don't even know if you're on TikTok, then.
I'm actually not. This might be being 17.
It's just really funny that Ian Hannum always goes to you. He's like, Ben, I don't understand what this word means.
Yeah,
what does finer mean? It's like,
well, actually.
I know. It's filler. I know. I legit don't know what I was saying, but I agree with it.
It's been a long episode.
Yeah. 12 teams at release for Blood Bowl 3.
12 teams. We've
got 28 teams in the game now, so that's 16. That's 4 years worth of content. Games Workshop are going to release another 4 teams. So, we might have a small adjustment to the rule set, but it won't be a reset.
I think we're a good 2 years away from a rule reset.
Everything else could be FAQ'd.
Yeah.
Wildly inaccurate is the only thing I think that needs fixing, but actually...
Star player prices.
Oh yeah, but that's an FAQ adjustment. And they can plug that in the game, no worries at all. They can be like, in line with Games Workshop, we're adjusting Morgenthau to be like this. It's an FAQ.
It'll only take 6 months to get recoded.
We don't know that. We don't know that. It took Games Workshop sort of 6 months to figure out that it wasn't right.
Yeah. It only took them 12 hours to FAQ their own FAQ.
Oh, yeah. That was an absolute doozy of a day. I need to stop.
It's THE, for those who don't know how to spell the.
Yeah, I know. Bless them. Well, we've all been there where deadlines are approaching.
Yes.
Oh, no, quickly, fix Blood Bowl. When's it supposed to be out? This afternoon. Okay. Let's do that real quick.
That's a bit too real. Yeah.
Isn't it just? So, yeah, predictions-wise, that's probably it for me. I don't think we'll have any massive splashes this year. We'll get an almanac, but like this one, the almanac only had some star players in it, which was probably all it really needed. I think that was a good fix. I'd love to see some of the other variants of Blood Bowl, but actually having them be kind of edge cases is perfectly fine. We haven't got too much out of Dungeon. Well, we did a tournament out of Dungeon Bowl.
Yeah.
We haven't had a chance to probably look at the expansion stuff. So there's that to look forward to. Yeah, I don't think we need a lot more. We don't need much more.
No,
we just need to play it and enjoy it. Yeah.
And that, I think, is the issue. And I think that this last year has felt really up-tempo because we were so far behind catching up on the stuff that was out. The new stuff just felt like, oh my God, more and more and more. Whereas I feel like we're at a point now where we're like, oh cool, got some new star players. That'd be great fun to try out every now and again. That's it. That's where we are now, which I think is absolutely awesome. Right, guys, should we wrap up this? I think this might be one of our longest ones ever. But it's good to get together and have a bit of a chat.
Making the most of the room.
We've done everything we've gone through with Milton. Yeah, I think so. Right, in that case, we'll move to this camera so that we can see everybody. And yeah, we'll wrap up. Guys, thank you very much for chatting Blood Bowl. It's always good fun.
Been good fun.
And Merry Christmas to everyone out there watching the episode on Christmas Eve. Go wrap your presents.
Yeah.
That's what I will be doing, undoubtedly.
Stock up on hobby supplies for the next few days if you haven't remembered to get something for anything you might be unwrapping tomorrow.
Exactly. Right, we're going to wrap up. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy blocking and Merry Christmas.